This is Racing Unleashed Beyond the Pinnacle.
Hold on to your hats. We are on the grid. Who is going to be king of the late breakers? Excellent onboard shot. Michael Spiegel is throwing absolutely everything at this, including the kitchen sink.
And he is a fighter, a warrior. And look at this! Look at this!
Unglaublich!
Wow, qué pelea!
I'm loving this.
Take your hat off and give him a bow. He's already in the lead and now he can sail off into the sunset.
This is Racing Unleashed.
Hello everyone, a very good morning to you. Welcome to our racing lounge here in Kemptal as we bring all our racing lounges together. But here in Kemptal, of course, we are situated in a motor world, which means lots of lovely vintage machinery like this late 1950s Mercedes-Benz 190 SL. But when it comes to the Challenger League today, and our drivers will be racing in something altogether more state-of-the-art, these Formula Hybrid X Evo 2022 simulators. Absolutely exclusive for Racing Unleashed is the track that we use today, the Zurich Airport Circuit. As I said, absolutely exclusive. No one else uses this track, only us, or rather our drivers from Racing Unleashed. They get to experience this wonderful circuit. It's very long, lots of demanding corners, and of course, therefore, is very demanding for our drivers today. To find out just a little bit more about this wonderful Zurich Airport circuit, we rely on one of our ambassadors, Mr. JWW, to give us a track guide.
So hello, welcome back to Zurich, Switzerland, and today is really special because we're racing a track that doesn't exist anywhere else. This is the Racing Unleashed Zurich Airport race circuit, and this for me is one of those USPs that sim racing is all about. Racing Unleashed have created this circuit from scratch. They've mapped the real airport in real time and created a circuit layout from it that they think will get the most optimal and exciting experience for our racers. So you got to stay tuned for it. This is truly exclusive content. It's going to test these guys to the nth degree of their skill. It's a complete blend between really high downforce flowing corners, strong braking zones and top speed straights. Don't go away. This one's going to be special.
Thank you. JWW is going to test our drivers to the nth degree driving these wonderful simulators. You can see the steering wheel and all the controls are ready to go. The gloves are ready to go. Are the drivers ready to go? Of course they are. We have here right alongside us the legendary Hyder brothers who, if they were not racing drivers, surely, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, these two guys would be rock stars. They have all that look about them, don't they? They will be performing for us. What else can we look forward to in the programme? Well, there's lots to come, including our Chief Executive Officer, Monisha Coltonborn, who will be explaining about a brand new collaboration into cognitive study with a university. Very much looking forward to learning more about that. And of course, our fitness ambassador, the legendary Ralph Muller, is here with yet more challenges for us with regards to physical fitness to make us, well, not me, but to make our racing drivers as fit as they can possibly be, which gives them just the edge when it comes to racing. And talking about racing, all season long, it has been really splendid. Cannot believe that we're at event 9 of our 2022 season. What happened last time out? Well, it was the Circuit de Catalunya in Barcelona. Let's take a look.
Green and go for the race at the Challenger League here in Catalonia, and it is a great start from the front row from Michael Frey, who's already come across to defend from Fabian Vettel down to turn 1, and Vettel squeezes up his inside, backs out of it, doesn't make the move stick, but really forced an error. A few drivers very, very wide there, and all through turn 1 and 2, absolutely squeaky clean, and Frey stays out in front. Look at Pletcher and Yannick Schmidt, who's that wide? I do believe Yannick Schmidt all over the gravel on the exit of turn 3. He's had a massive massive off in the background and demotes himself right down the order. What a start for Mr. JWW. Your timing screens do not lie. He's in P11 from 20th on the grid. He's had a fantastic launch in these opening few corners on the back of Fabian Vettel, with Yannick Pletcher late on the brakes and nearly running into the back of him. Here is Mr. JWW. Chandrin Kaifer and Joshua Hader side by side into turn 1. Oh, contact made, and Sinan Demirbas will take every opportunity he gets given to him. Here is Tiziano Caponio on the back of this train behind Fabian Vettel, and he's trying to stay in that slipstream of the car in front. Will he look to make a move into turn 1? He pulls out now. He looks up the inside at turn 1. Easy as you like. Job done for him. Now Vettel, once again, you see in the cars snake-like move down the straight. Vettel makes his 2 manoeuvres. He now sticks to a line, defends Jinx left. Pletcher though commits to the inside, and that is it. Job done. You bet your bottom dollar it is. And Yannick Pletcher, great manoeuvre over Fabian Vettel. He's into P2. He can now head after Michael Fry, who's 4.7 seconds up the road. Now look at this train. Vettel defending from David Seed. Ciro Zambra's trying to get involved in this. Seed trying to hang it around the outside of Fabian Vettel here then. Can he get it done? Will he stick the nose up the inside? Yes, he does. Brakes a little bit too late. Does that force Vettel even wider? He's got good pace. Let's hope that's the case. And oh no, late on the brakes from Tiziano Caponio, and taps Fabian Vettel and spins him round. This man, who was 12 points behind David Seed today, really needs to get into these points, and we're halfway through this race. We're over halfway through this race, and is that a desperation dive from Demirbas? A little bit of contact, nothing too aggressive. Past Georgiev he gets. Oh, a big wiggle from Pletcher. Valverde just gets his run compromised by tapping the rear and has a mid-corner snap. And this then could make David Seed with a double slipstream down the start straight. He's already pulled out on Valverde. Yannick Pletcher comes back to the left. David Seed, he's going to squeeze through the middle. And what a move this is from the Spaniard. Can he hold it on the outside of 1? Inside for 2. Bounces off the curb and pushes Valverde into the gravel. And back comes Yannick Pletcher. What an absolute masterclass from him. Now Valverde, late lunge again. No contact made, and is that job done? I think it is. He forces Yannick Pletcher wide. David Seed can't come through, and what a move from Marcus Valverde. And Ciro Zambra then, what a drive from him. He takes the race win. P3 for him, and a very good job for Marcus Valverde. There is Michael Fry being presented with his second place medal as well, and a very, very happy man. And Fabian Vettel, a high five, and the medal for Ciro Zambra. And what a job for him. Absolutely loving that. Round of applause from everybody. And for Ciro Zambra, P1. Yannick Pletcher, Tiziano Caponio and David Seed picking up penalties, with Sinan Demirbas moved into 10th. And penalties for Fabian Mayer, David Reusler, Andrin Kaifer and Valentin Georgiev. Mr. JWW bringing up the rear in 21st. And the championship standings, Ciro Zambra takes the lead from David Seed, with Sinan Demirbas in contention. And the bottom half of the field sees Michael Fry up into P11, with Antonio Rivoli down in 20th place.
It was absolutely stunning, and I have to say, really great race call from Matthew Duffin as well. Well done, Matthew. Edge of the seat stuff, really it was. Just as I wandered up to our studio here, I was wishing best of luck to Michael Frey, who was in the cockpit of his simulator, ready to go. Of course, we have the prize money on screen for you, and it's big bucks that the drivers are hoping to bank this season. As you can see, a prize fund which is utterly enormous. And if you look in the Challenger League, just for taking P1, it's 500 Swiss francs. Now, extrapolate that over the season, you can just see what the prize fund is worth. And big money prizes up for grabs all the way through to P10. And, of course, when these Challenger League drivers elevate to the Racer League, which, of course, many of them hope to do, then the prize money gets even bigger and better as well. It really is a huge incentive for our drivers, which is why you can see such a phenomenal on-track racing that we see, because there is a lot to play for. And of course the notoriety of doing very well is picked up and noticed by a lot of people also. So the Battle for Glory, which is the non-championship event, which happens in December, which I still know not where that is going to be hosted, But if you're a Challenger League driver, you can see that there's £1,000 in your hand if you take P1. 500 if you take P2, 400 for P3, and then, as you can see, the order all the way down to the through the top 10 in that non-championship battle for glory prize money table. Big bucks once again up for grabs for all of our drivers for competing in Racing Unleashed, the championship for 2022, which in every regard and every respect has gone and does go beyond the Pinnacle. And you can see our battle for glory at that secret track on December the 11th. It is going to be a date for you to diarise. You must be there and you must watch it because it will be awesome. All the pressures of the championship will be over. It is a non-championship event, but a hugely contested event. That is Battle for Glory at that secret track. And right now we move into action live from the Zurich Airport circuit then. And the Hayder brothers, who formed part of our introduction this morning. Lorenzo is out there. Here's Nico Farland then. And this, of course, is our Gear Up session, the effective free practice session that the drivers get around this really challenging circuit. And this gives them the opportunity to be out there. Musacchio in strife, already running wide, but getting it back, facing in the right direction on the tarmac, as we can see. So what a backdrop this is. A phenomenal circuit, as JWW explained, absolutely exclusive to Racing Unleashed, and will provide us with sensational racing action, no question about that, when it gets to the race. And of course, the qualifying which follows this Gear Up session, the knockout qualifying, which is absolutely critical to set the grid for the race to come a little bit later on today. Well, in my opinion, the qualifying session, the knockout session, becomes almost a race upon itself and in itself, which means that we give you even more value for money if you're watching us, and we're delighted that you are. So Musacchio we continue to watch then at the moment. As I say, got it back pointing in the right direction. And Nistino, who I spoke to earlier on, whose English is not so great, it has to be said. He is live here in our Kemptal lounge, which afforded me the opportunity to at least say hello. His family are here supporting him today as well. You can just see them in the background there. So Ernestino, we're hoping for good things from. Currently P5, now relegated to P6. It's meaningless though, because this is just the Gear Up session. Do not be alarmed. Andreas Koch then, we can see now. He's situated in our Calm Lounge. Little bit of oversteer there. You can see the back end of the car just stepping out a little bit. And we have just over 6 minutes of this Gear Up session remaining, allowing our drivers to get their eyes in. There's Tobias Meyer then, in all sorts of strife there. There is Tobias inside the simulator, gets it all together again. He's in our lounge in Munich. Of course, all our lounges come together for this wonderful competition that is Racing Unleashed. What a great community we have of really, really top talented drivers. Guzman Miguel. Guzman, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. He, of course, is in Madrid. And there you can see the full focus inside the simulator, as he currently is third fastest in this Gear Up session. Position 3, you can see all the graphics that are contained around the halo there. You can see exactly what gear the driver's in, the speed, as you can see, approaching 280 kilometers an hour, 290 we just touch. And this is Ciro Zambra then. What a star Ciro Zambra is, there's no question about that, because going into this round, he currently leads the Challenger League by 2 points over David Seed. It's a real ding-dong battle going on at the top of the points in the Challenger League between Ciro Zambra and David Seed, and don't rule out Sinan Demurbis and Marcus Valverde as well. Still points up for grabs. Of course, we are reaching the sharp end of the championship, and here is Ciro Zambra then. Currently P1, not only in terms of championship points, but P1 in this Gear Up session as well. So he is in our Zurich lounge, and you can see being well supported, and here comes David Seed then. Do not bet against this man. He is predatory and awesomely quick, and he is in Madrid. You can see just how these wonderful Formula Hybrid X Evo 2022 simulators really recreate the bumps across this Zurich airport circuit. Really challenging track indeed, and Sinan de Murbas continuing on his way in this gear-up session. Where has the time gone? We're into the final 4 minutes. Here's Sinan de Murbas then. Currently running P3 in the Drivers' Championship and running P3 in this gear-up session as well. Has just taken a look at the inside here, but discretion the better part of valor, because it is only the gear-up session, the free practice session. You can see the aircraft in the backdrop, because we are using this circuit created exclusively for Racing Unleashed here at the Zurich airport. So Marcus Valverde then, who is P4 in the Drivers' Championship and is a lowly P17 in this gear-up session. You can see he's got a couple of cars ahead of him, so he's mired in traffic here. Needs to find his way past those cars if he can. Just takes a little bit of slipstream and is run as close as he could be ran. There you can see strife for another driver as well. So awareness of what drivers are around you is absolutely critical, and Marcus Valverde then avoiding any further strife. This is Nico Farland. You can see from the graphics, or you could see from the graphics on the left-hand side of your screen, who was P1 and P2, and this is Nico Farland, currently P5 in the Drivers' Championship, and finding the curbs and what impact and effect the curbs have in terms of unsettling the cars. So it's Zambra from de Murbas, from Joshua Hader, then it's Schmidt and Herzog and Meyer, who are the top 6 at the moment, with just 2.25 minutes remaining in our gear-up session. So Ciro Zambra then doing a very, very good job and proving his dominance as he takes yet another couple of tenths out of his previous best time during this session. Here's Borja Zazo. So he has got a train of cars ahead of him. Now, of course, during the race, Borja Zazo will be hoping that following his knockout qualifying session that he'll have a train of cars behind him, because he'll be hoping to qualify way up the order. We will see. Currently he's running P7 in this gear-up session. This is Joshua Hader then. King of the late breakers there, Joshua. So the Hader brothers, who have delivered so much entertainment for us during the course of our 2022 season. They are absolutely wonderful, emotive brothers, and love their racing and love the competition. You can see Joshua there is just trying to buy himself a little bit of space, some tarmac space to be had. Ciro continuing to lead with a good 2.5 tenths over Sinan de Murbas, and then it's Joshua Hader, who is P3 at the moment. Matthias Overkirk then in calm. As you can see, really, there's not a moment, as we heard from JWW earlier, you know, there's hardly a moment to take a breath around this really demanding circuit, which remains exclusive to Racing Unleashed, and we're into the final 30 seconds or just under of this gear-up session. Side by side, we'll see plenty of that during the course of the racing to come. During the day here, we are with the Challenger League drivers for Racing Unleashed, and at the moment at the top of the chart is this young man, Ciro Zambra. Ciro having done and doing a good job. Sinan de Murbas, though, getting closer, is within 2 tenths of being on terms with Ciro Zambra. So Zambra, de Murbas, then it's Hader, Farland, then Lorenzo Hader, then Thomas Herzog, then it's Meyer and Schmidt, and Yannick Pletcher, P9, with Machas Dalla Rosa running in P10. And that's the way it looks. Here it is then. And there the gear up session is done and dusted. The next that we can look forward to is the knockout qualifying to come, of course. So our gear up session provides our drivers the opportunity to get in and on terms with that wonderful Zurich Airport circuit and get out there and really test their ability, test the simulator, and to get their eye in on this really long circuit as well. So that's done and dusted. We have got the gear up qualifying, the gear up FP session is done. The knockout qualifying is, of course, to come. And how the knockout qualifying works, allow me to explain. Basically, you line up or you come out of the pit lane in your championship order. So that means if you're really, really riding high in the championship, you'll be starting right at the back of the pack. And we eliminate cars on nearly every lap. Right. So Ciro Zambra then currently leads, as I mentioned earlier on in the program, by 2 points over David Seed. Then it is Sinan de Murbas, who's on 96 points and steadfast in that P3 position with 22 ahead of Marcus Valverde, who's running P4. Then it's Nico Farland, just a point behind Marcus. Then it's Lorenzo Hayder in P6 before Tiziano Caponio, Yannick Pletcher, Yannick Schmidt, and Julian Machas de la Rosa. They are the top 10 drivers in terms of the Challenger League. And then we see the next page, which includes Michael Frey, Thomas Herzog, Andre Kiefer, Borja Zazo, Tyler Klausch, Dario Apa, who is P16, Jason Plasig, Fabian Meyer, Joshua Hayder down there in P19, and Antonio Rivoli in P20 with Jason Ferrati, Ronnie Hettinger, Anthony Josef Lendorf, and Stefan Julmi, Sven Nussel, Piers Meyer, and Luca Keller, rounding out the entire ranking for our Challenger League drivers who are racing for us today at the Zurich Airport circuit. This is Racing Unleashed as we go beyond the Pinnacle with all of our fantastic drivers. Let's take a really in-depth look right now at the Zurich Airport circuit. So as you can see, around the winds its way around the Zurich Airport circuit. Its total length is some 7.6 kilometers. There are 16 legendary turns, named to make them legendary, and the battle is on the RU runway. See what we did there? So the Racing Unleashed exclusive circuit, which is the Zurich Airport circuit. Now here on the circle to the left-hand side of your screen, this is a straight which isn't a straight, and this is the start. You've got to get it absolutely right before the BP turn, which is this almost hairpin right-hander, which is something of a funnel right off the start. Then into RU1. This is something of a left-hander, which is altogether more sweeping than the first turn we saw. And then we go into the double apex almost, RU2. And there you can see both of those turns. Big blast of the throttle before this chicane, number 34. Can make it work. And then back on the throttle again for a long section of a massive acceleration before the RU N-way, runway, of course. And then it's right-hander again, a very tight turn, Ragazzoni. You can see how some of these turns have been named legendarily. And then it's this real twisty section where through the Swiss S's you don't have a moment at all to almost take a breath before you can then really blast. And through Dock E you go, carrying as much speed as possible, and it's carried all the way through until this right-hander, the Rega and Cargo right-hander, where King of the Late Breakers become dominant. Here into the GAC, the turn which does afford you just a little bit of throttle before you're back on the brake again for the Kloten S. Kloten, a little village just to the outside of the airport here in Zurich. And then you start this wonderful circle turn, which is a straight all over again. So that was our track preview. This is the way it looks with regards to our knockout qualifying. Andreas Koch, then Ernestino Musacchio, Tobias Meyer, Guzman Miguel, Valentin Yogiev, Matthias Uverkirk, Joshua Hader, Fabian Meyer and Borja Zazo. Watch out for Joshua Hader. He's got a very good starting position with regards to knockout qualifying. Then it's Thomas Herzog, Michael Frey, Julian Machas de la Rosa, Yannick Schmidt, Yannick Pletcher, 2 Yannicks together there, Tiziano Caponio, Lorenzo Hader, Nico Farland, Marcus Valverde. And then, of course, we get into the very back of the pack with Sinan Demurbas, David Seed and Ciro Zambra. The drivers that are going to have to do a lot of overtaking during the knockout qualifying, and we are on board the safety car right now. So taking us around this Zurich Airport circuit then. And having just had that track preview, we can see what it looks like now, and the colour and spectacle is all together lit up with all these wonderful cars out there on track. Now we have the safety car lap, a guarded lap, and then, of course, we, on lap 3, get into those drivers that are going to be eliminated from knockout qualifying. So the likes of David Seeden, Ciro Zambra and Sinan Demurbas are going to have a lot of work to do to move up the order and protect themselves for another lap. The safety car is really cautiously leading the cars around this circuit, as you can see then, really taking its time here. Roy is driving the safety car today, and you can see on the left-hand side of your screen that there is GPS in the safety car, which is why it's being positioned as P1. Of course it would be, because it is leading all the other cars around. So Andreas and Ernesto then going from what is effectively P1 and P2 are in a very, very advantageous opportunity, if you will, in this knockout qualifying. It is a long, long circuit, and that is perhaps and potentially to the advantage of the likes of Ciro Zambra, David Sid and Sinan Demurbas and Marcos Valverde, who are at the other end of the starting grid, if you will, for this knockout qualifying. So when I speak to the drivers about this circuit, it's one they all love because it is a huge challenge for them, forgive the pun. They really have to work hard at it, and it is a very, very physically demanding circuit for them to perform at their best, which is why we have the likes of the Fit and Fast ambassador, Mr. Ralph Muller, who's working with some of our drivers here to make sure that they are at the peak of their physical perfection, and therefore able to race and race hard on every sort of circuit, including these and this, which is perhaps the most technically demanding circuit that the drivers encounter during the course of this 2022 season. We are at race 9 of our Racing Unleashed Championship for 2022. Where have all the races gone? Well, where they've gone is in an absolute carrier bag full of entertainment for us and stunning competition, which has delivered and over-delivered in terms of compelling action for us all to enjoy. It's a privilege to sit here and talk about it, because just to watch it is absolutely inspiring. The young talents that drive in the Racer League, and very much hope, of course, to elevate themselves from the Challenger League up to the Racer League. And we have a new Fun League, of course, as well, which takes place as well. So lots of opportunities for you and anyone else that would like to be part of this wonderful championship. Valentin Georgiev, then, we can see there. The drivers are weaving from side to side to generate temperature. And you can see the safety car almost bringing the cars to a stop here, which becomes something of a log jam. A couple of drivers having to take evasive action to avoid making contact. So we get going once again, and of course the speed will increase now as the safety car disappears into the pit lane, and we get our knockout qualifying underway good and proper. So guarded lap initially, where you can still overtake, but no cars will be eliminated during the guarded lap. So it's almost a free lap for the likes of David Sid and Ciro Zambra and Sinan Demurbas. Here's Ernesto Musacchio, who we're on board with now. We're looking back at the car of Maya and Miguel A. The sound of the engine being put through the gearbox, the rev changes as higher gears are engaged from the paddle shift, which is contained on that wonderful steering wheel that I showed you right at the very start of the program. And Andreas Koch leading the way from Musacchio. Then it's Meyer and Miguel Ayres, and then Valentin Georgiev and Joshua Hader, Thomas Herzog, Mikhail Frey, Yannick Pletcher P9, and running out the top 10 at the moment is Tiziano Caponio. Now Lorenzo Hader has dropped down the order worryingly, so Lorenzo with work to do. Now bear in mind this is a guarded lap, so no drivers will be eliminated during this lap. So here is Tobias Meyer then, who is currently third fastest, but he's under pressure from Miguel. And there you can see them go side by side. Now, this is precisely what I'm saying about this wonderful knockout qualifying that forms part of almost another race. And Ciro Zambra has moved up to P15. De Murbas is up to P13, having just got past Yannick Schmidt. And this is Ronnie Herdinger then. So relatively clear tarmac ahead of him before the next 2, 3, 4, 5 cars that are very much in his target sights. So Yannick Schmidt, 14, P14 at the moment. That would, if everything stayed the way it is now, that would be a 7th row start for Yannick Schmidt. When it comes to the race a little bit later on today, double dose of Racing Unleashed action, of course, with our Challenger League drivers today and our Racer League drivers tomorrow. Joshua Hader now sets the fastest lap with a 2:06.798. And Joshua Hader then, who is currently 4th fastest and doing a very good job in qualifying here. I said that he is going to be one to watch. There's Yannick Schmidt, and you can see the Flughafen Zurich sign hoisted high above the track here. So Miguel leading from Koch, from Meyer, from Hader. Then it's Thomas Herzog doing a good job as well. We're watching Yannick Schmidt, who is currently P12. He's got Sinan de Murbas ahead, who's just passed him, and then Borja Zazo behind, and Ciro Zambra, who gets by Borja Zazo just as we speak, but Zazo fights back. And Ciro Zambra in strife now because he's dropped down the order, and David Seed is ahead of him now, and David Seed is fighting hard with Borja Zazo for the P14 place, which would be a 7th row start. So those in danger of being dropped out are Uverkirk and Lorenzo Hader. Unbelievably, didn't expect to see Lorenzo in the threat of elimination in the early stages of this knockout qualifying. So David Seed then making good on his promise and proof as to why he is P2 in the Drivers' Championship. And our championship leader, Ciro Zambra, at the moment is running P15. So David Seed with Nico Farland in his target sights now. So Nico Farland, who himself is riding high in the Drivers' Championship. Nico's in P5. Here is Lorenzo Hader then. And Lorenzo with cars to get by. Lorenzo Hader then in Kemptal. Here we saw them earlier on the start of our program. Here's Matthias Uverkirk then, who is currently P21. And there is Matthias, and you can see Lorenzo Hader is disappearing into the distance ahead of Matthias as we speak. Now, let's see just how difficult it is to absolutely nail every turn on this Zurich Airport circuit. Marcus Valverde now sets the fastest lap, and Marcus is down there. We're at P16 at the moment as Yannick Schmidt has pitted the car according to the graphics on the left-hand side of the screen. So here is Marcus Valverde, then clear tarmac ahead of him, which in this knockout qualifying is not advantageous necessarily because you need to get by cars to elongate your appearance in the knockout qualifying for as long as possible. Borja Zazo, P13, ahead of him is Ciro Zambra and David Seed. David Seed is chasing down Julius Machas de la Rosa at the moment, although David Seed's rearview mirrors are full of Ciro Zambra. As Ciro Zambra, we can see as we follow Borja Zazo, gets right alongside David Seed almost. This is Yannick Schmidt, P20 at the moment, which means Yannick Schmidt is in the danger zone. There he is, keeping an eye on everything that's going on around him, and you can see that he's got no likely prospects of overtaking anything ahead of him because he's so far behind. So Yannick Schmidt, with clear tarmac, is able to set some very, very fast sector times, but He's a long way down on Lorenzo Hayder, who we can see here, and Lorenzo Hayder still trying to get on terms with Fabian Mayer and Ernesto Musacchio. Thus far has not been able to do so. So it's P9 and P20 for those drivers at the moment, as Borja Zazo is under threat here from Ciro Zambra as they go side by side. Inside line for Zambra. That should be enough for him to go through and pick up that P12 place, but Borja Zazo keeps his foot in. In the end, though, it was all futile, because he loses out on a place and then runs very wide and loses out on another one, as Joshua Hayder now sets our fastest lap. It's Nico Farland that has gone through on the inside. Or just a little love tap there from Borja on the back of Nico Farland. So David Seed now into the top 10. Marcus Valverde sets the fastest lap. As the tyres really reach their perfect operating temperature, you can see the lap times are coming down. And Lorenzo Hayder with a 2:03.752. And here we go, almost three abreast into the left-hander here, with Borja Zazo continuing to be very aggressive, and Andreas Koch losing out there. Marcus Valverde also being able to go through at the same time. So we've lost two drivers, and we're about to lose another two. Who are in the drop zone now? It's Ernesto Musacchio and Fabian Mayer then, who are running P17 and P18. Those are the drivers under threat. Been an absolutely brilliant drive from David Seed and also from Ciro Zambra, who are both into the top 10 now, and you can see that Ciro Zambra is not done with this. A little mistake there from Valentin Georgiev plays into the hands of Ciro Zambra. Guzman Miguel then, who is P1, and he's a second and a 10th ahead of Josh Hayder. So Joshua Hayder then, who's currently running P2. That's how the front row would look if everything stays the way it is at the moment. David Seed now chasing down Yannick Pletcher as Ciro Zambra with Valentin Georgiev. What a battle this is between the two of them, and Machas de la Rosa trying to buy into it as well, as Ciro Zambra does go through and now can put the chase on to David Seed. We're live with Ciro Zambra with that lovely split shot. You could see him hard at work in the simulator, and also really see how the inputs inside the simulator relate to what the car looks like out on track. So he's some distance down on David Seed now. Yannick Pletcher is steadfast in P7. Here's Fabian Mayer. So Fabian is currently running P18, make that P17. So Fabian is not so far away from potentially being eliminated here. So on board with Fabian Mayer around this full chat flat straight, which isn't a straight, which is the circle here at Zurich. If you fly into Zurich Airport, you cannot help but notice the circle here at the Zurich Airport, which of course contains one of our racing lounges, as Andreas Koch finds himself in strife and in the gravel. So Fabian Mayer and Ernesto Musacchio, Nico Farland, well, it is Musacchio and Mayer who now find themselves in the drop zone. David Seed is up to P7. Got Mikael Fry, who's in our Kemptel lounge, ahead of him. Here is David Seed then. Absolutely awesome driver. Currently P2 in the Drivers' Championship points, merely 2 points behind our leader, Ciro Zambra, who incidentally is behind him right now. Ciro Zambra running in that P1 position in the Drivers' Championship points. This is Mikael Fry then. You can see Mikael has got Sinan Demirvis ahead of him, but he's a long way ahead of him. Machas de la Rosa gets by Yannick Pletcher. Yannick Pletcher tries to come back on the inside. Thus far has been unable to do so though. So Machas de la Rosa stays in that P9 position. Well done, Julian. Good overtake on Yannick Pletcher. So Julian targets the car ahead of him now. And that car is the car of Ciro Zambra. Being a hard one to overtake. Thomas Herzog, who very quietly has been going about his knockout qualifying, finds himself in P3. Very good qualifying from Thomas Herzog. He is part of the Fit and Fast program with Ralph Muller, which I was alluding to earlier on. Here's Tobias Meyer then in the drop zone. So Tobias Meyer having given it everything he can. And he and Ernesto Musacchio will be out of qualifying now. There is Ernestino. Sorry, Ernesto, I've been calling your name wrong. It's Ernestino. My humble apologies to you. Here's Julian Machas Dalla Rosa. So P9, Yannick Pletcher relegated to P10. That would be a row 5 start for Yannick Pletcher. Miguel A, P1. Joshua Hader, P2. Thomas Herzog, P3. Tiziano Caponio, good qualifying. Good knockout qualifying from Tiziano Caponio, then going from P4. Mikko Frey, David Seed, Ciro Zambra, Julian Machas Dalla Rosa. And here is David Seed, who we're following now, and he's following Mikko Frey. So now this would be for a third row start if David Seed is able to get by Mikko Frey. Here's Marcus Valverde. He's got Yannick Pletcher in his target sights. So Yannick Pletcher will stick his elbows out and try and make the car sufficiently wide to protect his P5 as it stands grid position. But here comes Marcus Valverde then, reeling him in like he's on the end of a fishing line to the inside, but that becomes the outside for the next turn. And sure enough, Yannick Pletcher is able to make sure that that position remains his. So Marcus Valverde and Yannick Pletcher side by side, and as I said, it's what makes this qualifying, knockout qualifying so compelling, because it is like another race. We've got 14 cars still running, which means at least another 14 laps to come in our knockout qualifying of this long and arduous circuit. Here's Valentin Georgiev, who's currently running P14, which does mean he's in the drop zone, and Nico Farland also in the drop zone as well, as we go past some of the buildings, and you can see the disappointment from Nico Farland. He clearly felt that he was worthy of a higher start than where he has eventually ended up. So he will have overtaking to do during the course of the race to come. So Ciro Zambra that we look at now. Currently P7, David Seed is P6. So very, very good showing from both of those drivers in this knockout qualifying, being able to overtake the cars and drivers that they needed to elevate themselves and put themselves higher up the order to give them the most advantageous starting position when it comes to the race to come a little bit later on. Guzman Migueles then, or Migueles, haven't spoken to him yet, and I'm sure he will correct me when I do, because at the moment he is in that fantastic position of leading this qualifying. However, mistakes like that are not going to help him. So Josh Hader then goes through, or does he, to pick up this P1. A little battle between the two of them here. So Hader now relegated back to P2. And here is Joshua Hader then. You can see how determined he is. He's squeezing. In fairness, he had a line there, and Guzman really encroached upon it, in my opinion. Oh, I am so glad that I do not form part of the race control panel. Because it's very, very difficult. David Seed now setting the fastest lap, and that's coming perhaps a little bit later on in the session than I would have expected. So David Seed now P6. It's going to be a danger man from there, but Ciro Zambra right behind him P7. So 7.6 kilometers of tarmac this Zurich airport circuit. Yannick Pletcher out. We got a brief shot of Yannick, and there is Borja Zazo. Discussions going on about their performance during this knockout qualifying, with Julian Machas Dalla Rosa and Marcus Valverde next, then the next two drivers to appear in the drop zone. It's like the floor of the simulator opens up and spits them out at the end of the lap. And no drivers want to be in that position now. Matías de la Rosa has got the opportunity to protect himself here, but he has got to get by Michael Frey, who is ahead. Now he's close enough to be able to do something, just 4/10 down, but it's notoriously difficult. Make that 3/10 now as he's closing in and riding on board, and you can see he's leaving Marcos Valverde. Here comes Julian Matías de la Rosa then to the inside, but that becomes the outside for the next turn. He's got to hold the speed, and this is where Michael Frey comes back. Absolutely brilliant stuff during our knockout qualifying then, promoting this overtaking potential and opportunity that we absolutely love in Racing Unleashed. So Michael Frey breathes a small sigh of relief and wants to round this lap out, as Julian Matías de la Rosa has certainly not given up on fighting and attacking here, doing absolutely everything he can. A really valiant effort at trying to get by the car ahead of him, but unfortunately he has probably not done enough, and that means that he will be eliminated. But great moves. And here's Sinan de Murbas then, who's P5, and Marcos Valverde, he is out of the knockout qualifying. Sinan de Murbas now with Tiziano Caponio ahead. And Sinan de Murbas we watch now with Tiziano Caponio in that P4 place, which would mean a row 2 start. Joshua Hader P1 with a margin of 2.5 seconds, very nearly over Miguel A, which is a very good showing indeed. Then it's Thomas Herzog with another good qualifying P3 for Thomas Herzog. We're getting to the final 8 laps of this because we have just 8 drivers remaining. Michael Frey, Ciro Zambra, David Seed, Sinan de Murbas, Tiziano Caponio, Thomas Herzog. Then it's Miguel A and Hader P1 and P2 at the moment. So 7.6 kilometers of really demanding tarmac for these drivers to really nail a perfect grid position for their race to come around this circuit. On board with Tiziano Caponio, who is currently P4, not really encroaching too much on Sinan de Murbas, and Thomas Herzog does get a little bit closer through that sequence of turns. And here's Michael Frey then. See how hard it is through the twisty, turny Zurich Airport circuit as we're about to lose Ciro Zambra and Michael Frey. Look how the simulator really elevates under braking. This is Tiziano Caponio now. It would, if everything stays the way it is now, it would be a second row start for Tiziano Caponio with Thomas Herzog, and then you can see, I mean, Joshua Hader has just disappeared into the distance. What a brilliant knockout qualifying performance from Joshua Hader. So we have the final 6 drivers remaining in our knockout qualifying. We are live with Racing Unleashed and our Challenger League drivers during this knockout qualifying session. Sinan de Murbas is P5, David Seed P6, and it's those two that will be knocking out next. And David Seed and Sinan de Murbas then, bearing in mind that they were coming right from the back of the pack relatively, surely they'll be pleased with their performance, having made their way up to the P5 and P6 positions. And there you can see the leading Joshua Hader simulator, and that is what the car looks like out on track at the moment, with a very good margin over Miguel A of some 3 3/10 seconds ahead. So built a really good and comfortable margin looked menacing during the knockout qualifying and has really made it count. So too, and credit to David Seed then, who, as I mentioned, like Sinan Demerbus, moved up from the very, very back of the pack as they enter the circle straight now. And Sinan Demerbus and David Seed will be, I would think, quietly pleased with their efforts, because they had to do an awful lot of overtaking during the course of that knockout qualifying phase. And there you can see Sinan Demerbus is completed, and so too is David Seed. So it's the final four showdown between Tiziano Caponio, Thomas Herzog, then it's Migale and Hayder. And if I'm honest with you, the margins between each of the top four drivers as such, I don't necessarily, unless a mistake is provoked, I don't necessarily see this order being changed somewhat. So there is Tiziano Caponio. Let's go on board with Thomas Herzog then. Very quietly gone about his knockout qualifying and doing a good job and putting it into that P3 position. So a second row start for Thomas Herzog. Very good driving during our knockout qualifying. And here's Tiziano Caponio then. So there you can see the 150-meter board advising the drivers how many meters they have before the next turn. And as I say, not much has changed or changing during the final run in our knockout qualifying. Tiziano Caponio is perhaps the closest to Thomas Herzog here. So Thomas will need to metaphorically stick his elbows out. Whoa! And Tiziano Caponio really pushing so hard, loses the back end of the car. And just as I was trying to propel the battle between Tiziano and Thomas, so unfortunately Tiziano Caponio loses out and loses grip, and that means that Thomas Herzog's P3 start is guaranteed. Now, very often Thomas will be driving here in the Chemtal Lounge today, preferring Zurich, and that's where he is. So we lose Tiziano Caponio and Thomas Herzog, and there Tiziano, in efforts to try and get on terms with Thomas Herzog, didn't quite make it work. Guzman then, who has done a very good job in qualifying and our knockout qualifying, but is some 3.5 seconds down on Joshua Hayder. Bouncing around the really rather uneven in places surface of this Zurich Airport circuit. It's going to be a P2 start, which is one to be really proud of, truthfully. See how much speed and acceleration or accelerator they carry to the very last possible moment before braking for the right-hander, which then becomes this sweeping left-hander into another right-hander. And Joshua Hayder, what a performance. What a great drive. Absolutely brilliant stuff. Finds himself with 3 3/4 seconds over Migale then. And we track Joshua Hayder then, who has done a great job in this knockout qualifying. And finds himself in that P1 position. Pole, of course. And he'll be jolly pleased about that, given that Joshua's down there sort of back end of the top 20 in terms of points, which really belies his extraordinary talent. But of course has, there he is, he's proven that today and is about to prove it for the final time, as you can see the smile, and Lorenzo right behind him then, giving it all the emotion as his brother nails P1. And there, you can see the raw emotion. Absolutely brilliant stuff. And they are both live in our Chemtal Lounge. And brilliant to see that raw emotion from that knockout qualifying, which, as always, and I love it, and I accept that sometimes the drivers don't agree with me, but I just think this qualifying setup that we have in Racing Unleashed is unbeatable, because it gives us another race, truthfully. And of course the real deal race is to come a little bit later on as well. And in that race, it is going to be Joshua Hader going from P1. Tantalizing prospect. Thomas Herzog doing a very good job as well, coming in P3. Of course, we'll bring you the complete classification in due course of who did what during qualifying. And the top 3, I am being told, are under investigation. So, watch this space as the story will continue to unfold in Racing Unleashed. Great thing is that in Racing Unleashed, everything is absolutely steadfastly fair. Firm but fair. We have a wonderful panel of stewards who take a look at everything that went on. Let's take a look at some of the highlights right now, though. Well, highlights or lowlights depend upon how you look at it here. Well, spinning like the proverbial top there, you could see, and this is on board with Yannick Schmidt, and it was just a little innocuous nudge from Yannick Schmidt. Michael Fry, well, he was steadfast in that position and not for moving, and Fabian Meyer then, well, it was Fabian Meyer that made contact, but Fabian Meyer losing out as well, and Tobias Meyer, what a save that was, and Valentin Georgiev was also involved in the action as well, of which there was plenty, and it came thick and fast. Julian Machas de la Rosa doing everything he could to try and put himself ahead, but ended up losing a position as a consequence. So you can see that so much going on during the course of that knockout qualifying, which is why our stewarding panel, which includes the legend that is Carl Wendlinger as a driver representative and ambassador for Racing Unleashed, and there you can see to the very right hand side of your picture is Fabi, our cameraman. But in the white shirt there with the pit perch is Carl Wendlinger, keeping an eye on everything, and he sees things from a racing driver perspective. So what I was saying earlier about everything being ruled really well and very fairly, that is absolutely the case, because it's looked at from a driver's perspective as well. Here's Ernestino. Ernestino, I owe you an apology. I was calling you Ernesto during the course of the knockout qualifying, which is unforgivable. Ernestino then here with the support of his family live in Kemptal as well. And his experience of the Zurich airport circuit is behind him now in terms of knockout qualifying. And of course the next experience will be in the real deal race to come as well. So our race control taking a look at the top 3, and there you can see not only do they look at all the data, but they look at us broadcasting as well. Now of course they have access to so much data and so many images, many more than you even see in this fantastic broadcast production program that we bring you. They have absolutely limitless supply of everything that they can look at to make sure that every decision they make is absolutely fair and the right decision. And as I say, Carl Wendlinger there to kind of see it from a driver's perspective as well. Into our lounges we go, and for the moment, of course, hello, how are you? That's Borja there. As you can see, for the moment, drivers relaxing just ahead of the start of the race to come a little bit later on in our program. We're delighted that you're with us here. There's Thomas Herzog. This is our Zurich lounge. And Thomas Herzog to the very right of your picture has just disappeared now, but Thomas did a very good job in qualifying and mounts the stairs now, I suspect, to go and get a coffee. Now Thomas is very much part of the Fit and Fast program, and here are the Hader brothers discussing everything that went on during the knockout qualifying. Now Joshua and Lorenzo then, so passionate, really live the emotions of motor racing and love it as well. And really such a wonderful bond between the two of them. And of course, in terms of performance, very different performances today from the two brothers. But we will see. Of course, at the moment, race control taking a look at everything. Just behind Hader there is that lovely Mercedes-Benz 190 that I was talking about right at the start of the program, part of many of the exhibits here at the Motor World, which is where our racing lounge here in Kemptal is situated. So our control panel continue to take a look at everything and deliberate over whether the top 3 are going to stand. And of course it is critical, and they have a relatively small amount of time to make their decisions, because it is going to form the grid for the race to come. And there they are, hard at work, taking a look at everything. And you can see to the right-hand side there, Carl Wendlinger is really putting his input in and saying, you know, what can and what can't be accepted from a racing driver's perspective. Very interesting. Super slow-mos being used to really investigate almost every meter of tarmac. Data being looked at, and you can see the access that our race control team have to so many different images. And there, just on the middle monitor at the top, you can see the track layout around the Zurich Airport circuit, which was designed exclusively for Racing Unleashed and therefore used by us alone. And it does provide a brilliant challenge for our drivers, whether Racer League or indeed Challenger League. And of course it is the Challenger League that we are with today, those drivers that are hoping to elevate themselves perhaps into the Racer League for our championship in 2023. Of course, when it comes to the end of the championship this year, it's not all over, because we have that non-championship standalone event, the Battle for Glory, which is one really to look forward to on a yet-to-be-determined track. It's being held as a closely guarded secret. It is on December the 11th, and it will feature drivers from both the Challenger League and the Racer League as well. But you have the opportunity to watch it live, our Battle for Glory, on the 11th of December. And the prize money in the Battle for Glory are, for P1, for a Challenger driver, it's £1,000 in your hand. For a Racer League driver, it's 7,000 Swiss francs. Big bucks up for grabs, as has been the case throughout the season in Racing Unleashed. The prize fund was enormous and really elevated for our competition for 2022. A fantastic job done, and there you can see all the prize money and the how it is distributed and how it has been distributed during the course of our season this year, with big money up for grabs in both the Challenger League and the Racer League. But as you can see, there is something of a difference between our Challenger League prize fund and the Racer League prize fund, which is a huge incentive for our drivers to really prove themselves in the Challenger League, to elevate into the Racer League for next season and the prospect of even bigger money. So, as I mentioned, we've come to the sharp end of our championship. We're on Event 9, Race 9, here at the Zurich Airport circuit, both today and tomorrow. And the grand final will be live at Imola. In fact, I'm going there on Thursday just to check it out. So, on the 12th of November, it will be the Challenger League, and on the 13th of November, it will be the Racer League. And, of course, whether you're enjoying this on Twitch or YouTube, we're delighted that you're with us and hope that you will be able to watch live the grand final in Imola for us. And there you can see contemplation after the hard charging knockout qualifying, and see discussions ongoing. Nice wave and smile as well. English language a challenge for him, but not quite the challenge that our race panel, our adjudicating panel, are having to deal with at the moment as they look at the top three. I am led to believe that it's the top three that are under investigation at the moment, just taking a look at everything that happened during that knockout qualifying, and as I say, the absolute spirit of fairness and making sure that everything is right before the grid is finally set for our race to come a little bit later on. So, as I mentioned, during the course of the program, we have lots to look forward to, including our Chief Executive Officer, Monisha Coltonborn, who will explain a little bit more about a new collaboration, if you will, with a university, looking at various things there. And of course, Ralph Muller, our Fit and Fast ambassador, and the program Fit and Fast will be checking in with Ralph, who has yet more and even more ambitious challenges for us with regards to our physical fitness. All our lounges together, of course. Today, they are here in Kemptal, also Zurich and Madrid and Munich and Calm. Now, I mentioned during our knockout qualifying that, of course, we're focusing on the Challenger League today. The Racer League will come tomorrow. But we also have Fun League as well, which you can join. It's your first entry into Racing Unleashed, and that's very much worthwhile. So if you would like to dip your toe in the water, as it were, in terms of our wonderful racing, then you can do that with our Fun League. And so the deliberations continue. The prize fund that we've talked about exceeding over 200,000 Swiss francs this year. And the simulator that the guys drive is the Formula Hybrid X Evo 2022. It was new for 2022, as was so much during the planning and preparation for Racing Unleashed for 2022. The cars featuring a completely new livery and a wonderful new racing format that we have enjoyed as well across what has been an awesome season. And I remember having many discussions with the drivers about the knockout qualifying, which was not liked by everyone, it has to be said. Now, I don't want to read too much into this, but my journalistic influences are that if the Hayder brothers are taking a look here, that I wonder whether we have got to the point where pole position is being debated. So there you can see both Lorenzo and Joshua then taking a look at the images and taking a look at the discussions going on. Now, of course, our race control panel are left to do their job, and the drivers don't influence that in any way, shape or form at all. But there you can see it is all being looked at the moment. And, well, we have an opportunity, I think, to have a conversation with Thomas Herzog in just a moment. You'll forgive the graphics on the left-hand side of your screen. I am not Matthew Duffin. He's better looking than me, but the best looking of them all, complete with his hairstyle, which has been done for aerodynamic efficiency, is Thomas Herzog. Thomas,
hello.
I know you can hear me, and I hope that I said that you seemed to be very quiet during that knockout qualifying, just going about your business. And if memory serves me, pitching it up to P3, which will be a second row start for you. You must be thrilled with that.
Yeah, I'm absolutely thrilled, especially after my long summer break. I missed the last two races, and yeah, it was pretty unexpected that I am on pole now. So yeah, let's look what I've got today.
Well, for whatever reason, Thomas, for some curious reason, I cannot hear you, but I'm sure your answer was as articulate as it always was, and of course with the brilliant starting position that we hope that you have, then it gives you a good opportunity in the race. So hopefully you could hear Thomas Herzog. If I couldn't, it kind of doesn't really matter because I'm not important. But thank you for taking. He's pointing at me now as if to say you are important, Dave, and we know I'm not. So that's Thomas Herzog then, who was one of the drivers who did very, very well in that knockout qualifying. And many congratulations, Thomas. Assuming it all stays the way we think it is, and we look forward to seeing you in the race. Now, Thomas Herzog is one of the drivers that takes part in the famed Ralf Muller Fit and Fast program. And Thomas has really benefited from that. And I've had many conversations with Thomas off the air and saying, look, does it really make a difference, as a racing driver, if, you're at the peak of your physique? And he said, absolutely it does, Dave. I cannot tell you. It really does make a difference. So there you are. Proof is in the pudding, as they say, and not too many puddings being eaten by Thomas Herzog as he continues his Fit and Fast program with Ralf Muller. And that's why he's in a position, potentially, that he is of P3, because he's a very fast and very talented driver, who, of course, will also be hoping to be in the Racer League when it comes to 2023. So I can see from my studio position here in Kemptal that our race steward panel are still looking at everything, and no decisions have been finalised quite yet. As soon as they are, we will bring you that information. Of course we will. So as I said, we reach the sharp end of the championship from here, and this wonderful Zurich airport circuit. We'd head off to the Imola circuit next, and that will be for our final round of our championship in 2022. But of course, it's not.
Okay guys, here's something special for you. Planks are one of the most demanding bodyweight exercises. Try to do the correct execution so that you don't injure yourself. Let's go into a lower position. Make sure elbows and shoulders are in line. Keep the neck long and the nose pointing to the floor. So go a little bit more down. Your butt is in line with your lower back. Important also the stomach, that you really flex it. Start the exercise by first lifting on one leg at the time. Repeat 3 times for around 30 seconds. What we're waiting for is the pain that comes. Pain comes, then we keep it a little bit longer. 5 seconds, fantastic, and that is our plan. Go for it. Racing Unleashed. That is how we do it. Let's move on.
This is Racing Unleashed Beyond the Pinnacle.
Hold on to your hats. We are on the grid. Who is going to be king of the late breakers? Excellent onboard shot. Michael Spiegel is throwing absolutely everything at this, including the kitchen sink. Look at this. Absolutely brilliant stuff. Disaster strikes.
Unglaublich.
Wow, qué pelea.
I'm loving this.
Take your hat off and give him a bow. He's already in the lead and now he can sail off into the sunset.
This is Racing Unleashed.
Welcome out then to Racing Unleashed. Here is the grid then, and we've got Andre Kai for P21 and Joshua Hayder in 22, and I think we can grab a word with Joshua. And Joshua, are we going to be a bit more behaved in this one? You're going to stay out of trouble.
Please repeat.
Are we going to make sure we stay out of trouble in the race for this one?
I tried to be in trouble this race, yes. Sorry.
Well, good luck.
Thank you.
So Andre Kai for P21, Joshua Hayder P22 there then. P20 is Tiziano Caponio and Silvan Prillo.
Can you hear me now?
19th place.
Ja. Ich höre mich doppelt.
P18 is Astrid Vollenweider and Tyler Klausch in 17th. And all these drivers get fully prepared and fully focused.
Can you hear me there?
So then P16 getting a towel and making sure the sweat is wiped off the rail. Fabian Meyer in P15, and I believe we can get a word with Borja Zarzo. Borja, what can you do in this race?
I don't know, I'm trying to give my best, so I think I can get my position back because I lost some positions on the qualifying, so I try to do my race, my best.
Well, we wish you the best of luck, Borja.
Thank you so much.
All smiles and all focus from every driver on this grid. Fabian Meyer lining up in P15 then on the grid as well. P14 goes the way of Michael Fry. And Julian Matias de la Rosa in P13th place. He's ready to go for this one. As we head into the top 12 now, and it's Thomas Herzog in P12. He's just making sure he knows what he's got to do. Hugo Pinto in position 11 in Madrid. Make sure the gloves are on, they fit nice and well and not too harsh on his hands. He's got a very long, tricky race coming up in this one. Top 10 then, and it's Ciro Zambra, the man who will start in P10, and I believe we can get a word with Ciro Zambra. And Ciro, race winner last time out, what can you do this time?
Yes, I will give my best. You know, the knockout quali wasn't the best, I couldn't get into the flow, but I will just race and try to get into the flow now in the race and gain some positions.
Hopefully score a lot of points today for your championship.
Yes.
Best of luck.
Nice.
Best of luck, buddy.
Thanks.
And in P9 then, Tobias Meyer lining up with him in our racing lounge in Munich, and he looks fully focused on the job he's got at hand. And Ciro Zambra, big task to get to the front of this pack. P8, Valentin Georgiev then with Marcus Valverde, the black sweatband today, not the purple sweatband we used to seeing with Marcus Valverde in P7. Making sure them gloves are on as he is ready to go. Valentin Georgiev there, just making sure he can see properly. Top 6 then on the grid, and it goes away over David Rusler in P6 here in Munich, and I believe we can get a word with David. Not yet in the channel, so I think we'll just wait. He's in the channel. David, can you hear us?
Yeah.
What we're expecting in this race? What can you do?
Yeah, hope not to get too far back, and maybe hold my position. Concentrating on staying where I am.
Your first race start here at Racing Unleashed, is it a top 10 finish what you want?
Yeah, of course I want it, but let's see how it goes, and I'm happy with any result.
Well, wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
And David Seed there, head just tilted down. A lot of work to do for David Seed today in P5. He's got to make sure he finishes ahead of Sinan Demirbas for this championship, coming to the back end of the season, and he's got a lot of work to do. Sinan Demirbas then, hopefully he's not asleep and he wakes up for the start of this race, because he's got a lot of work to do in P4. And we've got Sven Kusel to talk to in P3. And Sven, your first outing as well here at Racing Unleashed. Top 3 start. What can you do in the race?
I hope I will finish in the points, and let's look.
A podium, hopefully the best thing, or just points?
Just points.
Well, we wish you the best of luck, buddy.
Thanks.
And then your front 2, it didn't change from the original order. It will be Nico Farland in P2 and Ruiz Oscar lining up on the front row as the graphic changes. Now there is Nico Farland and Ruiz, who sat P1. A thumbs up from behind in Munich of Nico Farland. He's ready to go. And let's head to the fast facts now of Spa-Francorchamps. Spa then, the Ardennes roller coaster. It's classed then 7 kilometres long, one of the longest circuits in the Racing Unleashed calendar. 10 left-handers, 9 right-handers, and a start of 250 metres from P1 to Turn 1. 100 metres difference in altitude, and El Rouge probably the most famous corner in all of motorsport then. As we get into the fast facts, and season 2021, Javier Loro was the man who took the race win. A very good victory for him as he come through the chicane. Nicely done, look. And he just got to the line, and a lovely little punch of the air. I say punch of the air, a waft of the air, and then a bit more ambitious on weaving the car to warm his tyres up. Then into Turn 1 you go then, 250 metres from start to La Source, and a very, very tricky right-hander. It's very easy to get that one completely wrong. Up into El Rouge and Radion then. A very brave corner if you're going to go side by side. But what will you do through there? Crucial to get a good run down the Kemmel Straight, as then after the Kemmel Straight you head to Le Combes, where Michael Schumacher and Mika Hakkinen, Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton made contact one time as well. And at the very end of the lap, the chicane, which can make or break drivers. Can you send one up the inside to make sure it's job done? Or what will happen?
I try in the warm-up, I try a little to try to the start. I think that I have the point, but I don't know. And at the first corner I try to maintain the first position, but I think that it's a little bit hard. So my objective is to stay in the track and to survive to the last lap.
And then another fun fact, Nico Rosberg back in his William days trying to do a blindfold drawing of the circuit from memory. I don't think that's the layout of Spa, but I tell you what, it would make for an interesting race around Nico Rosberg's layout of Spa. Just wait till you see this ending, because the track doesn't join up, it overlaps, and then you can't come round to complete a lap because you just end it. Just there, look. What a shot. And that then was your Fast Facts ready for race 7 here in the Challenger League this afternoon. And a very warm welcome back to everybody here to Racing Unleashed, where we go beyond the pinnacle here for 2022. Hope you all had a good lunch and enjoyed the highlights of Brands Hatch. But there are red lights on now. It's a long hold. It's green and go for race 7 here at Spa, and a great start from the front runners. Everybody in the midfield equally sort of packed out and bunched up, making sure they all get into turn 1 as safe and out of it as possible. Everybody through nice and cleanly. That's what we want to see. Now down the straight towards Eau Rouge we go, and this is a crucial corner. Cars just bouncing off the wall up Eau Rouge. There's still drivers side by side. People having to get out of it there then as they come through. That was a car sideways at the top of Radion, and who is that dropping down the order? That is Tobias Meyer on his debut, down to the back of the pack. Nico Forlan though out front has taken the lead of this race, and Zarzo's got himself up to P14. Pinto and Matthias De La Rocha having a great battle, as well as Sylvain Prus here trying to make up some ground as that is a car off, and there's another one just gone off out the right hander, bouncing off the wall. And who is that dropping down? That is Mikael Fry, who has gone down the standings, as well as it was the leader, in fact it was the race leader. Ruiz Oscar is down to P20. So what has happened to him at the start of this race? And Nico Forlan leads this one then from Sylvain Prus on his it's Sven Kusnel, on his first outing. David Seed is ahead of Sinan de Merbas then in P3 and has got the jump there, and that is a big wiggle from Sven just in front of him as Nico Forlan is pulling away. Sinan de Merbas on the back of David Seed. He's got to try and stick with him. Where is Ciro Zambra? He's already made up good ground. He's up into P6 with Marcus Valverde just behind. But for Kusnel here, he's got David Seed on the back of him, and we know David Seed, he loves to make a late lunge up the inside. Will he do so at the chicane? Hugo Pinto here, you see down in P9, he's trying to make a move, and that is on Georgiev round the outside. Later on the brakes, he dares brake latest, and will he keep that inside line? Georgiev makes sure he gives it in very tight, and he doesn't get the run out the chicane he needed there. And Pinto down towards turn 1, he goes still behind Georgiev. He'll have to look to the inside. A late cut to the inside though on board Hugo Pinto, makes the apex and gets the job done there on Valentin Georgiev. And now Georgiev under pressure from the car behind him as well. I say car behind him, they're side by side, and Georgiev tucks in as Pinto coming up towards Eau Rouge. All these are brave in the background. Up over Radion they come, down the Kemmel straight now, and Pinto up into 7th place, can set after the drivers in front. Matthias De La Rosa though has got himself alongside Pinto, and that slipstream down the Kemmel straight really is at an advantage, especially if you can get in the toe early on up through Eau Rouge. And a huge snap for Hugo Pinto there, sends him right round, and hopefully the other drivers can avoid him, and he gets going now. He was on the apex of the corner as he span around, and away he goes into the safety of the rest of the traffic then. But a big snap for Hugo Pinto just when he got himself into the points. Joshua Hayder, he's made up some impressive moves already. He's up to P12 from the back of the grid. On board him, fully focused and determined to get this one done. Look, a car just a little wide in front of him, and he's going to make sure now that he tries to get on the back of that car. It is Tiziano Caponio just in front of him, and for Joshua Hayder, he's had a fantastic start. He's getting 10 places in the opening lap and a half. What an opening lap for him. David Seed is into 2nd place with Sinan de Merbas up into P3 from Valverde, and then Ciro Zambra. And here's David Rusler on his first outing down in 6th at the moment. Here is looking back from Tiziano Caponio, now back to Joshua Hayder, who is trying to get on the back of Caponio, but he's got Tyler Klaus just in front of him, and he's going to make sure that he can make the move. Here is Ciro Zambra then on the back of Marcus Valverde. Tiziano Caponio knows he's got Joshua Hayder behind him, and he has Klaus just in front. There's a queue of cars just in front here, and that is all on the back of Porsche Zarzo, who's had a good start to this race, 16th up to 8th, so he's gained himself 8 places in this one as well. Julian Matthias De La Rosa then on the back of the orange car in front, and look at the slipstream down the Camel straight up the inside as easy as you like, and that is P6 for Matthias De La Rosa ahead of our debutant and David Richardson, as Marcus Valverde has got past Sinan de Merbas then, so the current championship leader just struggling at the moment and loses out another place. Tiziano Caponio's got himself past Tyler Klausch, and that will mean that Joshua Hader will be after the back of Tyler Klausch now. But for Julian Matthias De La Rosa, great pass using that slipstream to full effect. Now needs to find some 3 seconds to get on the back of Ciro Zambra, who is trying to hunt down Sinan de Merbas. Further down the pack then, Fabian Myers moved up to 17th place, with Astrid Vollenweider up into 19th now as well, and Tobias Meyer, another one of our new drivers, he's dropped down to 20th place. Then looking back from Tiziano Caponio, now looking forward from Tyler Klausch, and that is the car of Caponio in front, and in the rear view mirror you see Joshua Hader and co in the background. Plenty of traffic and plenty of places for these guys to make up top 10 score points, let's not forget. And now here goes then Klausch on Caponio to the outside as they come towards the chicane. Who is going to be later on the brakes? It's Tyler Klausch, who really slams the anchors on and makes sure that he gets that one stopped into the chicane, and he does indeed, and that is a great move. Fastest lap of the race, David Seed, so he's a man on a mission, and he's coming at the moment. Tiziano Caponio though back behind Tyler Klausch once again, and is that Joshua Hader just going up the inside? Believe it was. He was having a look, but I think it's Caponio and Klausch up front who are side by side coming up to the bottom of Eau Rouge, and I tell you what, one of these guys have got to back out. Hader just to lift off the throttle there to make sure he doesn't get caught up in these two squabbling. How they got up Eau Rouge, look at Joshua Hader, the momentum he got through Eau Rouge, and he's trying to create a gap. He now makes it 3 wide coming down the Camel straight towards Lecombe, and here comes Joshua Hader, might just get the one place of Tyler Klausch, and he does so, and that was a great move. He's been tapped around and manages to hang on to it though. Who's got through? Believe Klausch, Herzog and Michael Fry have all got past Joshua Hader there, but he's got the speed, he knows he's got the pace and the determination to get through. It was a lovely move, it just didn't work at the very end for him in this one. Then David Seed has that lead cut down to under half a second to Nico Fall, and David Seed is on a mission to recover his championship lead in this race. Joshua Hader though head back down, and he's already on the back then of Thomas Herzog. Here is David Ruschler looking back to Borja Zarzo, then 16th in qualifying for Borja, and he said points in the interview, and look at him fully determined on catching the car in front of the debutant. Borja, an experienced driver here at Racing Unleashed, and knows what he's got to do. He knows when to go early. 17 lap race, with lap 4 of 17 as the laps start to tick away in one of the longest tracks on the calendar. Nico Farland just a little slower than the traffic behind him, so being caught by the 3 cars behind him here, but Sinan de Merbas not being able to make any inroads on Valverde or David Seed at the moment. Sinan de Merbas is actually being overtaken by Ciro Zambra as well then, so for de Merbas here, his championship lead could be taken off of him again. Borja Zarzo now up Eau Rouge. There's a couple of cars behind. That was Georgiev and Caponio as well, who up Eau Rouge, they've made contact, and a big incident into the wall of Valentin Georgiev and Tiziano Caponio, and that will promote several other drivers then. Michael Fry, Tyler Klausch promoted up a couple of places, as well as Hugo Pinto. I think Joshua Hader's made a few places as well, and for Tiziano Caponio, he's in the wars there, coming up through Radion into the back of Valentin Georgiev, and well, the momentum up Eau Rouge and Radion, you've got to make sure you get out that throttle, because if you're not out the throttle, you could have an incident like that, and it's just that slipstream taking great effect, and a big snap there for David Ruschler in front of Borja Zarzo, and Borja Zarzo patiently waiting. He can see that mistake coming from David, and bide his time. He's got plenty of time left in this race to make a mistake, and he's just forcing the newbie into a couple of mistakes. David Ruschler here is really now trying to keep it calm and keep it cool, and keep ahead of Borja Zarzo. Tyler Klausch behind is 3.2 seconds, so he'll only lose 1 place to Borja Zarzo. He doesn't need to overdrive the car here, as here then is your battle for the lead. David Seed to Nico Forland then. Nico Forland a bit quicker than David Seed last time around, and Ciro Zambra a lot quicker than the rest of them. Him and Sinander Murbas have got past Marcus Valverde, I just noticed there on the standings. There is David Seed, the man of many smiles, we've said in the past. He's coming up El Rouge into Radion, down the Camel Straight now, and looking back from Nico Forland. Look at David Seed just slowly pull in with that slipstream just taking effect. Gets it to 6/10. Actually, Nico Forland better through the Lecom chicane than David Seed was then. Ciro Zambra in third. From 12th on the grid, as here comes Tiziano Caponio again. He pulls out now on Thomas Herzog down the Camel Straight, just a couple of wheels on the grass. That's not the quickest way, Tiziano, and he's going to look around the outside at Lecom, and he gets that one absolutely inch perfect. Joshua Hayden now then on the back of Thomas Herzog, and he'll want to make a move as well, as here is Tiziano Caponio now has a job to do to make some moves and get some time up and try and catch onto the back of Michael Fry. There's Georgiev and Fabian Mayer both get past Ruiz Oscar, whose race, qualified on pole, but his race just hasn't gone the way he wanted it. Joshua Hayder then on the back of Thomas Herzog still. David Seed's brought that gap down a little bit to the leaders. Here is Fabian Mayer, and he's just waiting for that car in front to just make a mistake. That is Valentin Georgiev in front. 0.8 of a second separate these two. And for Ruiz Oscar, he's a further 1.5 seconds behind Mayer, and has plenty of time, does Mayer, to just force an error from Georgiev. Forland, though, quicker than David Seed last time around. Tyler Klausch now having a look. Who's this on? Having a look at the chicane there, gets a good run out of it, and this now is on the back of David Rusler then. So has he made a mistake? Because Zarzo's got past, and now Klausch up the inside at turn 1. Easy as you like, thank you very much. P8 for him, and Mikael Fry now on the back of a P10, of a P9, sorry. And for David Rusler, he's just dropping down the order a little bit. Has to try and stick with cars, and he's all over the place up the top of Radion there. And now getting that slipstream, doesn't need to. He's got the speed advantages. He pulls down the straight. Mikael Fry can see these two side by side, and how he'd love these two to maybe make a bit of contact into Lecom's, and it's as clean as a whistle, and through they go. And Mikael Fry is going to have to do it the old-fashioned way and overtake them on the track, and it is elbows out from every driver up and down the grid here. They want as many positions and as many points as possible. So Mikael Fry has work to do. Here's Thomas Herzog then. Loving the gear, green and black gloves on display there from the cockpit from Thomas Herzog. As down there towards the middle sector he comes. He's trying to get on the back of Joshua Hayder here then, who's still trying to stick with Tiziano Caponio. And for Herzog, just outside the points, as is Hayder and Caponio at the minute. So they'll all love a couple more places to get within them points. Back to Fabian Mayer. Look at that, a very cool, calm, collected face from Fabian Mayer there. Just on the back, looks like he's out for a Sunday drive. He don't look like he's in a race at the moment with the facial expression. On the back then of on the back of Georgiev, and he's got closer. Here is Tobias Mayer then, P20 at the moment, and is 4.3 seconds off the back of Andrin Kiefer. David Rusler then, he's under pressure from Mikael Fry and doesn't get the chicane right. Bit of a slow exit you see there, and Fry gets much better run. Now can Rusler defend that inside line into La Source? No, because Fry's going to try and switch it back, send it up the inside. Job done, P9. Tiziano Caponio next on Rusler's list then to defend from. As who's that making a move up the inside, around the outside? That is Georgiev and Mayer then, side by side, up El Rouge and through Radion. That is Fry, and David Rusler then, coming back at him he is, and wants that P9 back, and they are so close, and Tiziano Caponio is right with these two as well. Into Lecoms they come now. And David Rusler then gets that place back from Mikael Fry. So good job from him. Mayer has got past Georgiev on the standings as well. And David Seed has made no more inroads to Nico Forland at this stage of the race. Lap 8 of 17. So we're pretty much halfway through this race as well. And what a race it's been. There's been overtakes, there's been crashes, dramas all over. And your pole sitter is down in P17. Michael Fry then Another one that looks like he's out for a Sunday drive, just as cool as a cucumber in that cockpit, on the back of Reuschler and defending from Tiziano Capogno. Bit of a wiggle mid-corner there, misses his apex, but manages to get it right for the second ball, and that is a huge snap for David Reuschler there, and that puts him straight into the wall and will promote several drivers a couple of positions there. And Joshua Hader now on the back of this scrap of Michael Frey and Tiziano Capogno within the shout of a point. Thomas Herzog's trying to stick with these as well, and for David down to P13 he goes, and it has not been the race that the newbies would have wanted, as David Seed still within 6/10, but Tiziano Capogno is going to try and break late over Michael Frey into the chicane, and they just make contact slightest bit, and Joshua Hader sees an invitation of Ruiz Oscar. He's got his support behind him to make sure that he is doing the best job he needs to do, to cheer him on and to make sure that he gets the places he needs. Just losing a bit of time in this last sector to Frey, but look at that closing speed on the brakes there. Flat to the floor on the exit to the chicane, and great job there from Joshua Hader as he comes down the straight. It's just getting closer and closer, you feel, with every corner that goes by. And while Michael Frey and Tiziano Capogno sort of holding each other up, drafting each other here, they need to make sure that, or Hader needs to make sure, should I say, that he's aware of their speed coming up this part of the circuit, because you get such a launch from the top. Herzog now, he's within a second of Joshua Hader, and he can sniff some points as well, as Frey looking to make a move. Capogno's gone defensive already. Frey to the outside, and through the chicane, Lecombe chicane they come, and Capogno defends from Frey yet again and stays P9 and 10. David Seed within half a second, under half a second now, of Nico Farland. So he has brought that gap down, and David Seed is slowly now towards the back end of this race. He's coming back here at Nico Farland. There he is, look. And Nico Farland's car is the closest it's been all race. And I wonder if David Seed will crack a smile if he manages to get P1 in this one. He's fully focused at the minute though, and look at him, just determined as ever. And that car, that slipstream, is really pulling him in here. Within 3/10 now, he's going to have a look up the inside. Brakes earlier, make sure he doesn't make contact with the car in front, and that all good from David Seed then. Down the straight they come to start lap 12. 4/10. David Seed was quicker on that last lap. Ciro Zambra gained 2/10 over Nico Farland as well. So he might be starting to come back into this one, especially if Farland starts to hold up David Seed. Joshua Hader then has got past Michael Frey. He's into the top 10 now, is Joshua Hader, so a move done there. And David Seed now, the launch up the top of Eau Rouge and Radion in that slipstream, a 10.5. He's already committed to the inside, and Farland is helpless to anything here. And David Seed, look at though, Farland's coming back at him then. David Seed's reached the top speed and Farland comes back at him, but he's on the wrong side and has to tuck in behind David Seed now. But he will have that benefit of a bit of slipstream. Needs to nail every corner, every section of this track to stick to the back of David Seed, who misses his apex at this next part of the corner. So that invites Farland right back in it here. And a fantastic scrap then. Joshua Hader into the points, do believe. He's having a good side-by-side battle. I can just see over my monitor. David Seed, make sure you don't go too far wide there. Just enough two wheels on the curb, and back from David Seed. There is Farland. He's gapped him to half a second already, you know. So David Seed at the moment doing absolute bits so far to keep in front of Nico Farland and extend that gap already. So Ciro Zambra, could he have an answer for Nico Farland and get himself on the podium? What a race for David Seed. He's had a few ones. This is a look back at the start of Sinan de Merbas then, and P4 on the grid. A bit of contact coming into turn 1, you see, and he just then got pushed a little wide and he lost momentum. Another bit of contact there. Here's Sven Knusel into the chicane, and he just outbraked himself, taps the car next to him, and around he goes. And Sven, keep it there, do not spin that car around, good lad. Sylvain Pruss made sure that there he is, he's still parked up waiting for the traffic to go. Oh, that was a very silly error there from Pruss. The car did lunge on him and was very, very slow, and he bounces off the sausage curb and straight into the back. Fabian Meyer then around the outside of another car. David Reuschler then down to 14th place, has just been overtaken by Fabian Meyer. Oh, and a bit of contact made there between the pair of them. The door Oh, it wasn't really open for a move, but he did have a nose there, and Roesler going to come back at him, you know, into La Source, and job done up the inside at turn 1. Thank you very much, he says. I'll have that one back. Nico Forland has had no answer for David Sees, and here is David Roesler then. Fabian Meyer on the back of him, the slipstream up El Rouge and Radion they come for the 13th time in this race, and you imagine that Meyer's slipstream advantage that he's got is just going to carry him towards Lecombe, but he's going to be on the outside line here. And Roesler then, he's not given up on this one yet, and around the inside doesn't leave him much room for the next part of the track, and yeah, job done all cleanly as well through there, and say he squeezed him a little bit. Meyer managed to get through without making contact. Myers ran deep then. Here, Georgiev back up to 18th place. He's had a terrible race since his incident to Meyer. What a save from him there, drifting it through the left-hander. Brilliant save from Fabian Meyer. Fantastic from him, as he's just lost a bit of time to Roesler there, just with that little mistake at the moment. Ruiz Oscar, your pole sitter in Madrid. He's got a bit of traffic behind. He's got a car in front. That had a bit of a wiggle, didn't it? And Oscar can look a little interested here. That is Hugo Pinto, the car in front, and Andrin Kaifer, the car behind. And for Oscar, not the race he'd have wanted on his first outing. He'd have wanted to make sure he got some points and got a job well done and come away with points on the board, but it's not to be for him at this moment in the race. Lap 14 of 17, David Seed has started. David Seed has checked out up front. He has gone. Joshua Ada has lost out to Michael Fry, I've noticed, on the standings, as well as Roesler now, and Fabian Meyer are back at it once again at the chicane, and now down towards La Source they come for their 14th time. And Fabian Meyer does not think of sending one up the inside. He was a bit too far back to get that job done. In that slipstream though, and he could have that all-important slipstream coming up El Rouge and Radion onto the Kemmel Straight. As they come up now, there is Pinto, Oscar and Kaifer in the background, and Fabian Meyer then in that slipstream, just going to pull himself a little closer, but he's not going to get close enough by the time they break for Lecombe, and that's a shame for Fabian Meyer. He'd have wanted to make another move and get himself into that top 13 positions. And he brakes very late there, and it just makes him run a little deep. But I tell you what, it's brought him closer to the back of David Roesler there then, and has really gave him some momentum. This is looking back from P13 David Roesler onto Fabian Meyer. And for Meyer, he's just patient. And that's all you've got to do in this. It's just patience, patience, patience. And Meyer not trying to push the error, as Ruiz Oscar here has got a car on his left-hand side. There it is in the rearview mirror. Peekaboo, he says, as Ruiz Oscar being attacked now. He was the attacker. He's now being... he was. As Andrin Kaifer completely runs wide and into the gravel, and now Ruiz Oscar on the back of Hugo Pinto has got a chance of making a move. Fabian Meyer and David Roesler as well making moves, and Oscar has got past Pinto, so that's job done before the chicane. Will Pinto try and come back at him? Meyer and Roesler are side by side a bit further forward as well, and here comes Oscar later on the brakes than Pinto. Pinto tries to get the switch back, and Oscar, no you don't, because I've got that one covered, he says. Meyer still didn't get past David Roesler up front as well. He's going to have a look at the source. No, tucks back in, thinks better of it this time around. I'll tell you what, let's try and see if any driver's brave enough to do what Mark Webber did to Alonso a couple of years back at El Rouge. See if anybody's brave enough to go around the outside of that into El Rouge. Fabian Meyer wasn't, but he'll just get that run, and look at that. I tell you what though, by the time his car reaches the top speed, Roesler's going to be coming back at him at Lecombe, and he's the wrong side of him. You need to be doing what David Seed did, and that's getting to the right hand side of the car after Radion, because look, Roesler there just taps the back of Meyer and round he goes, and that then gives Meyer the spot. It also gives Oscar and Pinto an extra couple of places as well, and you have to say there for David Roesler, he made the mistake himself, braked too deep and into the back of Fabian Meyer. He went, the door was open, and he just made the mistake himself. Nico Forland out front isn't being caught by Ciro Zambra. One man who is catching though up front is this man, Marcus Valverde, gaining on the back of Sinan de Murbas, the current championship leader. This man, well, he's he's attacked Nico Farland all race. He got past Nico Farland in a fantastic move at the top of Radion, and since then he hasn't looked back. 1.2 seconds is the gap as Tiziano Caponio's got himself past Tyler Klausch on the standings then. Farland has no answer to David Seed. Marcus Valverde, though, could have an answer in this championship to help Ciro Zambra and David Seed out in this championship, and that is if he can get on the back of Sinan de Merbas a little more than he is at the moment. Here is Nico Farland just wrestling with the car a little bit through Lecombe. Got Ciro Zambra gaining on him. But lap 16 or 17, Ciro Zambra's got to do the work now to set up a real attack on the last lap. 9/10 of a second is that gap, and he's got to make sure he really can attack Nico Farland. But he's got to be sensible in doing this, because any incident, you know, and if race control decide that it would be a penalty, if Ciro Zambra made contact with Farland, he could lose the podium altogether. Points mean prizes at the end of the day, and that's the big thing at this stage of the season. Podiums, get them in the bag. Let's not, you know, you've got to be clever and sensible when racing. Ciro Zambra then, here he comes on the back of Nico Farland, who's had great pace in this race. He's just lost out a little bit to other drivers. As Valverde within 0.3 of a second now of Sinan de Merbas then, and here he is with his entourage in the background. Valverde going around the outside at the little left-hand bend and up the inside into the bus stop chicane. And thank you, Mama, for the carrots, he says. Job done. And that is a great move from Marcus Valverde into P4. The top three all battling, and you have to say, as they start the final lap, Marcus Valverde has just got himself maybe back into this championship hunt a little bit. Sinan de Merbas then, he's in P5. What can he do? Can he come back on Valverde? I tell you what, he's just not had the pace in this race to stick with the top three, and now he's been passed by P4. He's not had the pace in this session as Sinan de Merbas, and it's going to cost him in the championship standings. He's going to come back at Valverde here, down the Kemmel straight. We say, though, I said a moment ago, you want to be on the right-hand side. He can't come across to close the door, and Valverde will just keep the nose in, and they give each other great respect there from the pair of them, and de Merbas gets the place back. Fantastic driving from him up into P4. And great respect, great racing from these two. And Valverde then has got to now try and fight with de Merbas for this final position, for this final fourth place position in this last half of a lap. And that's all he's got left. He's got 3.5 kilometres to make sure he can get this one done. And look at him, concentrated, needs de Merbas to maybe make a mistake, because Valverde's lost a bit of time to Sinan de Merbas here. P5 though, great result for Valverde. Might have to leave the purple headband at home from now on and bring the black one with him, because he's not had the best results recently, and a change of headband seems to bring a change of fortune for him then. De Merbas, to the end of this race, has maybe got the gap covered. It's going to take one heck of a lunge from Valverde to get this job done. But I think David Seed should be coming to the final chicane and to the finish line to finish this race. Here comes Valverde. He's going to have a look to the outside. Can he keep a nose in it? David Seed, though, is going to be your race winner. And not that you'd notice, because barely a reaction from the young man. Nico Farland takes second place from Ciro Zambra, and it was Sinan de Merbas who crossed the line P4. And we've got Ciro Zambra in the podium with us now, and we spoke to you before the race. You said you was happy with the points. You've come away with third.
Yes, I'm really happy with third place. It's a good result, but I couldn't catch up to Farland. He had a good pace there, maybe some laps more, and I would have overtook him maybe, but it is what it is.
Yeah, the top two seemed to leave you early on, and you managed to get that third place. Like you say, a couple more laps you may have had Farland, but you've got to be pleased with your work today.
What?
You've got to be pleased with the job.
I'm very pleased. Was a good result, starting from P11 to P3. I'm happy.
Well done today, Ciro. Fantastic result for yourself, and enjoy the podium.
Thank you. Thank you, mate.
So very happy Ciro Zambra there then. P11 up to P3. Great drive from him. Fantastic stuff for him to get onto that podium. Spa, very difficult track early on in that race, and when you're in that mid-pack, you need to get the job done. And here's a man who just couldn't hang on. Nico wasn't to be today.
Yeah, my pace in the knockout was simply better than in the race. I was half a second faster in the knockout race, so I did a few mistakes at the middle of the race that Sid can catch me at the end. So I'm happy with P2 as a good result, to be honest, for good points for the season. P2 is good, but I want to win. But I think every driver wants to win a race. So.
And was it a bit nervous at the end of the race there, because Ciro Zambra was starting to catch you at the end, so a bit of nerves maybe?
Yeah, a little bit of nervous. I had a little bit problem with the downshifting on the simulator, but it's not that quite hard. But yeah, I'm losing so much pace compared to the knockout race, but it's P2. I'm happy with that. So moving forward. Yeah,
moving forward to next month, more points in the bag. Greetings to your father as well from all of us here in Kemptall. Shame he couldn't be with us today, but a P2 nonetheless.
Yeah.
Happy day.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Well done.
Thank you.
Everybody then very, very happy, and no gain, no loss for Nico Farland. Started P2, finished P2, so a decent day. And this man then, what a race he had. David Seed, your race winner. That was a fantastic drive. Talk us through that.
Okay, I had a very decent start. I went through P3 or P2, and after that I were like 7 laps trying to overtake Nico, and after that, well, I just had to drive to the end.
Now it did seem for a while that the gap was staying the same to Nico, and then all of a sudden you got on the back of him, went past, and you didn't see him again.
Well, I think he made a mistake, and that helped me to overtake him. Sorry. And after that, yes, I only had to control the distance in 1 second, 1.5 seconds, and that's it.
And that looks like it gives you the championship lead back as well, coming away from Spa, so even more to be happy about.
Yes, and also I want to dedicate this win to my friend Valentin Cordova, because it's his birthday. I love you, mate. That's it.
Well, thank you very much, David, and well done on the race win.
Thank you.
Well done indeed. Instead of the normal podium procedure that we don't normally see, David Seed is going to get his in the cockpit of the car because he has to head off to the airport. So David Seed, your race winner here at Racing Unleashed for the Challenger League, and he is the race winner today, and he's going to collect his medal in different fashion in the cockpit as he has to head straight to the airport, we're being told. So well done to David Seed then for his podium and his race win. And again, a little cheeky grin there from David Seed. So we'll have to make sure we get a picture of that one. As you see there in Munich, Nico Farland onto the podium. He steps. A high five with everybody at Munich. Lovely message in the background to Sebastian Hirsch as well. And Nico Farland gets his second place medal, and a job well done from him in Munich. Fantastic scenes there. He's very happy with his job. And here then, Ciro Zambra, P3. And he, again, another happy man in Zurich with his podium there. All three drivers very, very happy. We had bigger smiles for P2 and 3 than we did for the race winner, but saying that, if you've been watching all season, that's not to be expected with David Seed. All three drivers, though, very happy. And once again, the message to Sebastian Hirsch, we wish you a speedy recovery and hope to see you back on track very, very soon and back here in our racing lounges very soon. All the best and get well. So there is your classification of your podium. Again, David Seed, your race winner from Nico Farland, and Ciro Zambra, second and third. And race control are still looking everything over here at the moment and are making sure that they do everything they need to do to get it the final classification to us here then. So the top three, all ecstatic, very delighted with themselves. And so they should be, really, because they had a fantastic day and will take home a lovely, lovely medal and a bit of prize money to go with it as well. Your final classifications then. David Seed from Nico Farland and Ciro Zambra. Sinan Demirbas and Valverde keep their top 5 and the top 10 stays the same. Into the second half of the page, and a penalty for Tiziano Caponio drops into 11th. Valentin Georgiev and Sven Kusnel down with penalties as well. And bringing up the rear, Astrid Vollenweider and Sylvain Prus with a penalty to his name. The challenger standings look like this. David Seed, Sinan Demirbas and Ciro Zambra, 20 points separate them, with Nico Farland in contention. And underneath the top 10, we have Thomas Herzog and Andre Kiefer on 21 points, and Joshua Hayden moves up to 18th place with 7 points. Bringing up the rear at the bottom of the table, Ronnie Heitinger on 4.
Hi, my name is Ralf Möller. I'm the Chief Fitness Officer of Racing Unleashed. For esports, sim racing, physical and mental fitness is important. 30 to 60 minutes of exercises per day are important for your success. Use your bike instead of your car, or just take a walk. There are no excuses. Running, cycling, swimming or gym. Just keep it going. So get fit and fast with a Gladiator. Racing Unleashed. See you soon.
This is Racing Unleashed Beyond the Pinnacle.
Hold on to your hats. We are on the grid. Who is going to be king of the late breakers? Excellent on-board shot. Michael Spiegel is throwing absolutely everything at this, including the kitchen sink.
And he is a fighter, a warrior. And look at this! Look at this!
Unglaublich!
Wow, qué pelea!
I'm loving this.
Take your hat off and give him a bow. He's already in the lead, and now he can sail off into the sunset.
This is Racing Unleashed.
Welcome back to Kemptal and to all our lounges as we look now at our grid for the Racer League race, the Challenger League race to come. I beg your pardon, Matthias Overkirk then going from P21. He's situated in our Calm Lounge as we bring all our lounges together. Welcome to our race from the Zurich Airport circuit. So as you can see, Matthias at the moment not in the simulator, but he will be very, very soon because racing action will get underway very, very soon. And just as we speak, there Matthias makes his way into the cockpit of his simulator, belts up and gets ready to rock and roll. As we continue our look through the grid, there's Yannick Schmidt then. He'll be disappointed with his qualifying. He goes from P20 and Lorenzo Hader. P19 from Lorenzo, and good to see Lorenzo and Yannick Schmidt then on the 10th row of our grid here. And Race Control have spent a lot of time speaking and looking at everything. And Tobias Meyer, he is in our lounge in Munich and he is going from 18. So Tobias, you've got 17 cars in your target sights ahead of you. What's your strategy, friend?
Yes, I don't know. I just tried to give my best and hope to overtake somebody. There are some seconds between my competitors, so I just give my best.
Well, your best will be brilliant, I'm sure. Tobias, just very quickly, how quick is this Zurich Airport circuit? Is it hard work?
Yes, you need a lot of time for practice. So yeah, I did some time to practice, so I hope it is enough to be competitive.
Well done, Tobias. We look forward to seeing you in the race. Andreas Koch then goes from P17. He is in the Calm Lounge, as you can see. And the focus on Andreas's face then is such that you can see he is ready to do battle in this awesome race here to come from the Zurich Airport circuit. And big, big smile beaming from ear to ear, Andreas. That bodes well, doesn't it?
Yes, I hope give a very good race for all. Have good lucks and a fair race, please.
That's very humble of you. So Andreas there wishing all his competitors a good race as well. We wish you well, Andreas. So that is the 9th row of the grid. Then we find Fabian Meyer, who goes from Munich, and Ernestino Musacchio, who's here in Kemptal. He goes from P15. So that is the 8th row of our grid for the Zurich Airport Circuit. Valentin Georgiev, he goes from P14, and then Nico Farland then in Munich is going from P13. A thumbs up there for Nico Farland, as you can see, and Valentin is all smiles as well, so good luck to those two drivers. Now Yannick Pletcher, what a star he is. He's going from P12, as you can see, his final stages of preparation for Yannick Pletcher then, and we're not going to disturb him as he just focuses totally on what he's got to do in this race here at the Zurich Airport Circuit. And Yannick Pletcher is situated in our lounge in Zurich. Borja Zazo taking a comfort break before he gets into the car. He goes from P11. This grid, of course, after race control have looked at the knockout qualifying. Julian Machas Dalla Rosa. He goes from P10, so 5th row start for Julian Machas Dalla Rosa. He's in Munich, P10, and then Marcos Valverde. Then we wait for the sweat headband to go on, which will form, of course, part of his driving uniform. There it is, as if by magic. He goes from P9, and he, of course, is in our lounge in Madrid. Now we get to the sharp end of the grid, if I can say that. David Seed then, who going into this race is going from P8, and Mikael Frey here in Kemptal, literally just 3 minutes ago, Mikael, as you and I passed each other in the lounge, you said, actually, Dave, I'm not absolutely sure where I'm starting. It's P7, Mikael.
Yeah, I'm quite happy about this. I mean, it was an improvement from the knockout starting position. But yeah, I hope I will do better in the race.
Well, you've got 6 cars in front of you, Mikael, that you've got to get by. We wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
So Mikael Frey then, he goes from P7, following our interventions from race control, which now see Zero Zambra going from P6 and Guzman Miguel going through P5. Now, Guzman, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly, and if I'm not, please feel free to give me a slap about the face with a wet fish and tell me, how should I pronounce your name?
Hi, hello. You're saying it well.
Whoa.
The good way is Guzman, but you can say whatever you want.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, one thing I will say is you're an excellent driver, and you're going from P5. Podium a possibility for you?
Hopefully yes. I will fight hard at the start and keep improving as the laps goes by. I don't really understand the penalization, but the penalty, but it's okay. We will fight.
Racing drivers never understand penalties. That's curious, isn't it? We wish you the best of luck going from P5. Big smile from Guzman then. Thank you for talking to us. So Guzman and Ciro Zambra then going from the 3rd row of the grid. Now we find Sinan Demurbas and Tiziano Caponio. They are going from P3 and P4 respectively. Going to be danger drivers from the 2nd row of the grid, in my opinion. And Tiziano Caponio, what can you do from P3? P1 has got to be on your agenda, hasn't it?
I mean, of course, P1 is always on the agenda, but with the pace of Sid and, of course, Zero, it's going to be really challenging. And yeah, I mean, I'll see what I'm going to be able to do. I'll try my best, and I just want to get into the top 5 today, to be honest. So yeah.
Tiziano, you always deliver in terms of entertainment and great race action. We wish you the best of luck. Thank you for talking to us, Tiziano.
Thank you.
Thank
you very much.
So he's in our Zurich lounge then, and he goes from P3. And now, of course, we get to the front row of the grid, and it's Joshua Hader who is going from P2 now, following a penalty, obviously during the course of the deliberations after qualifying. He's in Kemptal. In Zurich is Thomas Herzog, and he, of course, is going from pole position. P1 for Thomas Herzog. Can he convert that into P1 in the race? We will see. Let's take a look at the fast facts right now of this wonderful Zurich Airport Circuit. Good luck to all the drivers. So as you can see, as the facts are unveiled, 7.6 kilometers, 16 legendary turns, and it is absolutely exclusive to Racing Unleashed this circuit, the battle on the RU runway. Coque Lopez left-hand side, Michael Smeedle on the right-hand side of the screen. Coque Lopez heads towards the checkered flag and takes the checkered flag with more than 5 seconds of margin. That was just a little example of how great this circuit is, in use last year, of course, through the BP turn, which is always a funnel and always something of a pinch point on this circuit. Legendary turns like Ragazzoni. And what a turn that is as we continue our Fast Facts encyclopedic look at this wonderful circuit. The Swiss S's, boy, do they challenge our drivers. Next up, the right-left of Rega and Cargo. Hardly a moment to take a breath, let alone think about the next sequence of turns, which includes the Cloten S.
Yeah, I'm absolutely thrilled, especially after my long summer break. I missed the last 2 races, and yeah, it was pretty unexpected that I am on pole now. So yeah, let's look what I've got today.
And here we go then. Hold on to everything that might be loose-fitting about your person as we go racing. This is Racing Unleashed. We're on board with Ciro Zambra then, who's under pressure right from the start of this race and losing out his P6 to P7 potentially here. You can see every driver jostling for position as they go into turn number 1. This is almost like a hairpin, and it is absolutely brilliant. Thomas Herzog going, of course, from that P1 position. What he needs to do is hope that everyone behind battles hard so that he can escape up the road. And sure enough, Sinan Demurbas and Tiziano Caponia having a real battle going on. Migueles is P5, having moved up past Ciro Zambra, and Mikkel Frey having dropped down the order. So already lots of positions being altered right at the start of this race. Some 15 laps of this hard, demanding 7-kilometer circuit to come, with Thomas Herzog leading. And sure enough, he is beginning to stretch his legs just a little bit as we cross a sector line. He's increased his margin to some 6/10. We're on board with Marcus Valverde, who is running P7 at the moment. He's got Mikkel Frey right up his trumpet behind him in P8, and Migueles is running in P6. Ahead of them, Ciro Zambra and Tiziano Caponio and Sinan Demurbas and Joshua Hader and Thomas Herzog. So Ciro Zambra, we continue to watch around the left-hander, and then we see the rest of the pack coming through the right-hander now. Quite a sweeping turn before you can really use the throttle. This is Nico Farland fighting with Yannick Schmidt then over the P13 position. Now Yannick Schmidt trying to close the door on Nico Farland, who sees the gap and goes for it. But of course, that puts him on the outside for the next turn. So, can Schmidt come back here? Well, Nico Farland absolutely stays with it and does the job. And he goes through. Yannick Pletcher has moved up to P10. And Nico Farland with just a little tap on the back of Julian Machas Dalla Rosa. So that sends Machas Dalla Rosa further down the order than he would like. And really unfortunate, innocent bystander in that. And well, Hader has picked up the lead of the race from Thomas Herzog, as you can see. Thomas Herzog relegated to P2, and it's Hader that is leading now. He is P1, and here comes Thomas Herzog trying to come back, as you heard. Really struggling over the summer break, and not struggling, but missing the racing action. He missed the last 2 rounds. And here is Thomas Herzog now, P2. What can he do to wrestle that P1 position back again from the hard-charging Joshua Hader then, who is running P1 and got that overtake done on Thomas Herzog very early on in the race ahead of Ciro Zambra. Then it's Migueles and Frey, and Seed is P6 with Yannick Pletcher P7, Nico Farland P8, and Lorenzo Hader with a very good performance up to P9. And Marcos Valverde is P10. They are your top 10 at the moment. And you can see that the top 2 drivers have really broken away from the rest of the pack here. We're on board with Sinan Demurbas then, who's running P11 at the moment with Marcus Valverde, the car that he wants to attack ahead as Fabian Meyer and Yannick Schmidt continue their fight. And Fabian Meyer puts himself ahead of Yannick Schmidt, and Next, going to be questioning Yannick Schmidt is going to be Borja Zazo. But he's some distance behind, as you can see, some 2.8 seconds. So, Fabian Mayer then, who is running in P14, Yannick Schmidt P13 at the moment. And here is Fabian Mayer. Smooth, super smooth in the controls and on the inputs. And whoa, a little exhale of breath there. You can see from Fabian Mayer, it's almost like he knows he's on the telly as we speak about him. So Fabian Mayer then, P14. David Sid having got past Mikael Fry. We can see from the graphics on the left-hand side of your screen. That means that David Sid is up to P5. Now, of course, bearing in mind the criticality when it comes to the Drivers' Championship points at the moment, David Sid is currently second to Ciro Zambra in terms of the points. So what he needs to do is get past Migueles ahead and then try and take the fight to Ciro Zambra. So is the championship really, really hots up with only one race in the championship left to come in the Challenger League, and that, of course, is Imola. We're on board with Ciro Zambra now, wide. And very, very, I thought he was going to have a punt around the outside then, but he managed to scrub the speed off with Thomas Herzog now under real pressure here from Ciro Zambra. Surely it's a question of when, not if, Ciro Zambra goes through. And just as we mentioned it, so he does. So Thomas Herzog relegated to P3. Ciro Zambra now up to P2. Needs to find some 2.25 seconds to get on terms with our race-leading driver. Here's Thomas Herzog then. He's part of the Ralph Muller Fit and Fast program, and it's really paid off for him. David Seed has got past Migueles, and he's up to P4. And there is David Seed now. He can just see the Thomas Herzog car. That is his focus. That is his target. And David Seed has got about a couple of seconds to make up before he's on terms with the car of Thomas Herzog. Nico Farland has got by Yannick Pletcher, and this is David Seed then. Try to put in a series of quali laps almost, and here's Lorenzo Hayder well in the points in P9 with Sinan Demurbas ahead of him. Bear in mind, Sinan Demurbas is running P3 in the Drivers' Championship going into this round. Lorenzo Hayder is trying to encroach upon that position held at the moment as Fabian Mayer, we can see, running down there in P14 in with Yannick Schmidt, and Borja Zazo getting a little bit closer now to Fabian Mayer as just ahead of them. Big battle going on with Yannick Schmidt and Valentin Yurgiev as Yannick Schmidt wins out in that little battle and moves himself up into P12. And now Joshua Hayder has got some 1.7 seconds in the lead of this race. Here is Valentin then. Really working hard in the immense power of these Formula Hybrid X Evo 2022 cars, which takes some harnessing around this very difficult Zurich airport circuit. So it's Hayder from Zambra, from Herzog, and here's Borja Zazo then, who has caught up with this little warring faction ahead of him. And what can Borja Zazo do from here? He's running P15 at the moment, and Hayder is being caught now by Ciro Zambra, just out of interest. The gap is down to 1.5 seconds. So Borja Zazo then, Fabian Mayer is the guy ahead, and then it's Valentin Yurgiev. And here's Fabian Mayer then. Super smooth, really, really a joy to watch Fabian Mayer inside the simulator, and also how all the inputs from that split shot transfer into how the car performs out there on the track. Nico Farland has moved up a place to P6, and Fabian Mayer is going to come under threat now from Borja Zazo. Borja Zazo is virtually welded to the back of Fabian Mayer, so he's got the pace. Where can he make the move? He dives to the inside. Racing room is left by Fabian Mayer, who of course will have the inside for the next turn, which is advantageous and means that he can hold on to that position just for the moment. But Borja Zazo, by keeping it around the outside, that gives him the inside for the next turn, and therefore Borja does go through on Fabian Mayer. A brilliant, well-executed overtake, to be fair. So Borja Zazo, you can see, quietly looks very happy with that overtake. However, Fabian Mayer is coming back here and puts his nose just ahead of Borja Zazo, and now we'll have the inside line. But Borja Zazo very late on the brakes and was able to keep the car on the track through that turn. So Fabian Mayer is denied the retaking of that position. Valentin Georgiev in the all-white car ahead of Borja Zazo. This is Ciro Zambra, who sets the fastest lap now of a 2:03.314. And just the battle at the front, as you can see from the graphics on the left-hand side of your screen, it's down to 9 tenths now between Hayder and Zambra. So Zambra is getting closer. Fabian Mayer, P15. It's Zambra P2, Hayder P1. David Seed very close now to Thomas Herzog, within 8 tenths of Thomas Herzog. So Fabian Mayer then, and he's not prepared to let Borja Zaza have this position. Fabian Mayer has been absolutely, it's almost like when he gets the bit between his teeth when he's been overtaken, and he becomes even more aggressive then, and he's probably better at aggression than he is in defending, that would suggest. Ciro Zambra then, running in P2, but has got Hayder in his target sights. So Ciro Zambra, another one of these drivers that looks really cool and stress-free inside the Formula Hybrid Evo X 2022 simulator. Feeling rather more pressured, I would suggest, is Joshua Hayder, who we're on board with now as Ciro Zambra puts the car to the inside. So, carrying as much speed as they possibly can, they go absolutely side by side. King of the late breakers, Ciro Zambra. Well, Joshua Hayder holding on to this, but Ciro Zambra does go through. And you would just suggest that the pace with which he managed to get on terms with Joshua Hayder, the guy that we're on board with now, would suggest that he's going to be able to really break away. We're on lap 5 of 15, so still a very long way to go in this race. But you have to say that Ciro Zambra, this is really cementing his position and why he's at the top of the Drivers' Championship already in the space of but a few turns. He's put some 7 tenths on Joshua Hayder. This is Sinan Demurbas, who I remind you is P3 in the Drivers' Championship and at the moment is in a lowly position of P11 in the race. Now, Yannick Pletcher is the driver that is P10. And Sinan Demurbas very much after Yannick Pletcher, and then Marcus Valverde and potentially even Lorenzo Hayder as well. Under the Flughafen Zurich sign we go with these wonderful cars and this wonderful racing. This is the Challenger League on a Saturday, of course. Racer League to come tomorrow on the very same circuit, exclusively live for Racing Unleashed. So Lorenzo Hayder then and Migueles swapping places, and strife there for Marcus Valverde, who has dropped way down the order to P12 before he can get the car pointing in the right direction again. Make that P13 as Borja Zaza goes by. And this is Nico Farland. And here is Lorenzo Hayder then, one half of the two brothers, of course, that race in this fantastic series. And it's fair to say that both Joshua and Lorenzo, hugely talented drivers, and really live their emotions through motor racing and doing a great job in our Racing Unleashed Championship. And Nico Farland swapping from outside to inside. Boy, he'd got some pace there. Took the advantage of the slipstream off the back of the Michael Fry car. And Michael Fry and Nico Farland fighting over this P5 place at the moment. It's Thomas Herzog that's P4. And then some way up the road is David Seed. And then the rest of the drivers that are leading this race. Michael Fry we're on board with now. You can see how you really do not get an opportunity to even rest for a millisecond on this demanding Zurich airport circuit. Ciro Zambra sets the fastest lap at 2:03.211. Well, of course, he's got completely clear tarmac ahead of him, and you will recall it was only but a few moments ago we were talking you through the overtake of Ciro Zambra on Joshua Hayder, and since that overtake, he has stretched his margin to some 1.394 seconds. Great driving from Joshua Hayder, even greater driving from Ciro Zambra. And David Seed, of course, who's running in P3 and is P2 in the Drivers' Championship, may I remind you, is trying to get on terms with Hayder. This is Nico Farland then, P5 currently for Nico Farland. And he can see very much the Thomas Herzog car ahead of him as Lorenzo Hayder gets by Mikael Frey to pick up P6. And Nico Farland now is lining up Thomas Herzog. Where is he going to make his move? He goes to the outside. It's a long way around the outside. Then tries to put a slingshot to the inside, but he was too far wide of the track to be able to do that over the bumps. And you can really see how undulating this circuit can be in certain places. The Zurich Airport circuit. And what Nico Farland can ill afford to do is take his time in overtaking Thomas Herzog, because if he does, he all of a sudden will be under threat and pressure from Lorenzo Hayder, who, as we speak, is about right on his gearbox. So we're on board with Thomas Herzog, and you can see how Nico Farland dives to the outside. It's a long way around the outside, but if he can remain in this position, it'll give him the inside for the next turn. And he then tries to make the car a bit wide, and into the battle comes Lorenzo Hayder as well. So Nico Farland goes through. Thomas Herzog now relegated to P5, and Nico Farland is now in P4 with Lorenzo Hayder and Mikael Frey, and almost Yannick Pletcher involved in that as well. Brilliant stuff going on here. Loving this racing from our Challenger League drivers. About half distance in this race as Nico Farland now comes under revised pressure, if you will, from Thomas Herzog, who's getting the hurry up and wants this position back again. He's probably being propelled into this somewhat by Lorenzo Hayder, who's breathing down the back of his neck. So under braking then into the left-hander. Here is Sinan Demirbaş. He's involved in his own little battle here. P9 at the moment for Sinan Demirbaş, who desperately needs to put points on the board before going into Imola, of course. Ciro Zambra leading by 1.5 seconds. Here's Sinan Demirbaş then fighting with Yannick Pletcher. Yannick Pletcher, who's had podium here in Racing Unleashed in 2022, is undoubtedly a rising young talent. There's no question about that. Sinan Demirbaş, Yannick Schmidt and Yannick Pletcher all in this fight for P8. And here is Yannick Schmidt then. You can see just how much force he puts through the braking pedal when he brakes. And we often talk about determination on the drivers' faces, and none more so than on Yannick Schmidt, who of course is under pressure from Migueles, who's right behind him as well. A slight mistake there potentially from Yannick Schmidt, who does allow Migueles to go through, and Sinan Demirbaş still pressuring Yannick Pletcher like never before. Really good defending from Yannick Pletcher, who's holding on to this from Sinan Demirbaş, and you can see it's broken away by 5 or 6 car lengths now, so fair play to Yannick Pletcher. Sinan Demirbaş then takes stock and reconsiders his strategy with regards to trying to overtake Yannick Pletcher ahead of him and secure that P8 place and some more valuable points for Sinan Demirbaş's current P3 position in the Drivers' Championship. This is Yannick Schmidt. He has Marcus Valverde behind him. Marcus Valverde, we know, is very, very good at overtaking. A little, you can see the Zurich Airport Circle, and Marcus Valverde then showing his face to the outside, but not really in any opportunity to try and make a pass at that point. But Marcus Valverde is sure enough wanting to worry Yannick Schmidt ahead of him. So there is Valverde, and Borja Zazo is not so far out of this little, it'll become a 4-way fight, won't it, for P11 or P10. So there he is, Marcus Valverde there. Borja Zazo in the orange car that you could see, the Formula Hybrid X Evo 2022 exclusive for Racing Unleashed, as indeed is the tarmac that we are racing on. So let's take a look at a replay here now. And there you can see as the tyres smoke and we get the race underway. We ride on board with Nico Farland weaving his way through and just catching the back end of that car. And once again, there's going to be plenty for race control to take a look at in the opening few turns of this. And Borja Zazo with a real heavy hit on the back there, and Nico Farland also. And remember, we saw that live, didn't we, with Nico Farland? And you can see as two become one, and actually they don't, as Guzman Migueles able to take advantage. Very good avoidance by Migueles. I mean, they fell in his favor, to be honest with you. And Sinan Demirbaş also involved in some strife as well. So good to see that as we go back to the live pictures now with 5 laps remaining of this race from the Zurich Airport circuit, with Ciro Zambra leading. And here is Ciro Zambra then with completely clear tarmac ahead of him. Underneath the Flughafen Zurich sign goes Ciro Zambra. You can see how he's keeping 2 tyres or 2 wheels within the white lines, which is the absolute necessity to not start having race control, looking at whether you're exceeding the track limits and trying to get slingshots on certain turns. So 2.46 seconds to the good over Joshua Hader. David Sid is P3, Nico Farland P4, then it's Lorenzo Hader with a very good P5. From Thomas Herzog, Mikko Frey, Yannick Pletcher, Sinan Demirbaş and Migueles running in P10. They are your top 10 for you. We are on lap 10 of 15 of this race here from the Zurich Airport circuit. Bringing you all the action live from Racing Unleashed as all our lounges come together with our competitors situated all over Europe to bring you this awesome racing series, which in this particular race, it's Ciro Zambra that is leading. Marcus Valverde then, with Migueles ahead, and Yannick Pletcher P8 with Mikko Frey now P7, and Thomas Herzog, who finds himself in P6. You will recall started the race in and on pole position, as Marcus Valverde then tries to line up that all-yellow Migueles car. Let's go on board with Marcus Valverde now. This is one of the faster parts of the circuit. You can see, do not absolutely lift for that left-hander, but certainly do for the right-hander, as Marcus Valverde carries so much speed through there. He's got so much grip available to him. Brilliant driving from Marcus Valverde. So he now finds himself in P10, and Borja Zazo has just done Migueles and Schmidt at the same time to find himself in P11. So he'll be chasing down Marcus Valverde now. So great driving coming from Borja Zazo then, although some of his moves right at the start of the race, undoubtedly following the replay of the start, will be under investigation from our race control team. This is Julian Machas de la Rosa, currently running in P14. Down through the gearbox you can see and hear then into second gear, up into third, building the speed, fourth, fifth. And great to be on board with Julian Machas de la Rosa then running in P14 with Yannick Schmidt ahead of him. Ciro Zambra's extended his margin at the front to 2.9 seconds. So Zambra from Hader, from Seed, from Farland, from Hader, Herzog, Frey, Demirbaş, Pletcher, and Marcus Valverde. Can Borja Zazo get himself into the points? And here is Yannick Pletcher then. And Yannick Pletcher has just been utterly solid in his position and not prepared to let anyone overtake him. And in fairness, Yannick Pletcher is getting a little bit closer to Sinan Demirbaş now. So what can Yannick find to elevate himself from P9 to P8? Mikko Frey, P7. If I look from our commentary studio, I can actually almost see into his simulator. And there he is, unemotive in terms of facial expressions, just utterly concentrating on everything that he needs to do to try and move from P7 to P6. Bit of a wobble there, as you could see, but he held onto it nicely. He's hugely talented. He's got Thomas Herzog ahead of him, but critically, he has got Sinan Demirbaş now right behind him. So going to be hunting and hunted at the same time now is Mikhail. And it's this invidious position to be in, really, where you've got someone trying to overtake you whilst you're trying to overtake as well. So any move he makes on Thomas Herzog is going to have to be absolutely definitive to not allow Sinan Demerbus the opportunity to take Mikael Frey at the same time. And here is Sinan Demerbus, who could be the big beneficiary of any overtake attempt that he makes right now. So Sinan Demerbus then, just seeing where and how Mikael is trying to get himself around Thomas Herzog, and you can see Thomas Herzog is able to break away a little bit now, and the reason for that is Mikael Frey is now having to defend rather than attack and try and protect his P7 position. A mistake there from Sinan Demerbus. Didn't cost him too much in terms of speed or time, but nonetheless, in the closing stages of this race, because we're on lap 12 of 15, Tyre Deg begins to have an impact now in the later stages of the race, and therefore where once you previously put your car on the tarmac, maybe the same level of grip is not available to you as it was earlier on. Yannick Schmidt, who's running P13 at the moment, he looks so aggressive inside that simulator. And Yannick Schmidt with Julian Machas Dalla Rosa right behind him. And here is Sinan Demerbus then, as we split the screen and give you two battles at the same time. What value we bring you from Racing Unleashed. Sinan Demerbus then tries to dive to the inside of Mikael Frey, but it wasn't going to happen. And Yannick Schmidt here is really under pressure now from Julian Machas Dalla Rosa, they are side by side. Ciro Zambra sets the fastest lap, no surprise there. Although where I am surprised is that he's doing it this late stage in the race, but of course fuel load, or virtual fuel load, has gone down. Aggregate that against the tyre degradation, of course he's been able to be super smooth and not be too aggressive, because he's led the race for a number of laps now. So once again, let's go on board with Yannick Schmidt, who's in our lounge in Munich. There, all the power that he has forced through that braking pedal. You can see he almost sits up in the seat inside the cockpit of the simulator to really press the brake pedal through the floor of the Formula Hybrid X Evo 2022. So Marcus Valverde does get by Yannick Pletcher. He's moved up into P9. That relegates Yannick Pletcher to P10. And this is Sinan Demerbus. P8. As Mikael Frey has been steadfast in this P7 position. Equally, he's not been able to attack Thomas Herzog ahead of him. And here comes Sinan Demerbus now with a good carry of speed here, but where it's difficult to overtake at some points of this Zurich airport circuit. You have to be pinpoint accurate in terms of where you're going to make your move, and Sinan will not like the fact that Marcus Valverde is getting ever closer. Here is Yannick Schmidt, then Julian Machas Dalla Rosa, who's disappeared up the road and is chasing down Migueles. And Yannick Schmidt, who's got Fabian Mayer behind him, but some distance behind him in fairness. So Yannick Schmidt at the moment is untroubled. Here comes Sinan Demerbus then. We said he'd got to be pinpoint accurate, and he was. He really sent it through that turn. And Mikael Frey was almost unable, well, he was certainly unable to defend against it. And as I mentioned, Valverde is going to have a go as well. So as Mikael Frey becomes unsettled to the tune of Sinan Demerbus, so Marcus Valverde is having an attempt as well. And all of a sudden, under real pressure, becomes Thomas Herzog. So Sinan Demerbus can see this P6 potential. We ride on board with Thomas Herzog now. 2 laps, or 1 lap, plus the remainder of this lap remaining for our drivers in the Challenger League. Here's Sinan Demerbus to the outside of Thomas Herzog again. King of the late breakers around the outside, tries to go Marcus Valverde in the battle that's going on behind. But Mikael Frey holds on to that. So Sinan Demerbus now, he's got so much time to make up on Lorenzo Hayder. He's not going to be able to do it in the laps that are remain available in this race. Here is Marcus Valverde. He can see P8. He hasn't quite got P8 yet. And he's going to have to go around the outside here where the grip is less afforded to you. And sure enough, Mikko Frey, and now Marcus Valverde has got Yannick Pletcher coming back at him. Yannick Pletcher all the way around the outside here. And this would be a brilliant move by Yannick Pletcher if he can make it work. And he does not quite. Because Marcus Valverde, and there was a little touch from Yannick Pletcher on Marcus Valverde. Absolutely not Valverde's fault. And Pletcher, brilliant effort from him, but it just didn't pay off in the end. And Yannick Pletcher losing out to Borja Zazo as a consequence of that, but 10 out of 10 for the effort that he gave. Here comes Marcus Valverde then, and Mikko Frey again for Valverde. It's a long way around the outside, a little touch from Mikko Frey, and Valverde has done it, and now Thomas Herzog is under threat from Marcus Valverde on the final lap of this race. So Zambra leading from Haider and Seed. Then it is the Battle Royale going on behind for the P7 position, which is held by Thomas Herzog at the moment. However, Marcus Valverde is having a real go for this. And here is Mikko Frey. Oh, big sideways moment. Borja Zazo going through. That, of course, was Yannick Pletcher getting so sideways. And Yannick Pletcher in his desperate attempt to get back into the points and pay grade as ahead of them. Wow. There was just a huge opportunity there as Thomas Herzog and Marcus Valverde both getting sideways in symmetry. So that changes the order to Sinan Demerbus, Mikko Frey, Marcus Valverde, Borja Zazo, and Yannick Pletcher back into the top 10 then, with Thomas Herzog now relegated to P11. So on this final lap, Ciro Zambra has got surely nothing to worry about. He's got 4.6 seconds to the good ahead of Joshua Hader and David Seed. Meantime, everywhere else, including Borja Zazo and Yannick Schmidt moving back up the order again. And here is Ciro Zambra then, who has been utterly faultless and has driven really well. Once he'd got his nose in front, you could just see that he banked a load of quali laps to build up that comfort margin over Joshua Hader. And 4.7 seconds is heading towards the circle. And, of course, to the start-finish line with a virtual checkered flag will fall on Ciro Zambra. P1. Joshua Hader, P2. Then it will be David Seed, P3. And there is Joshua Hader, a very good effort from Joshua Hader. Nico Farland then finishing in P4. David Seed finishing P3. There's Lorenzo Hader, which is a brilliant drive. And there is David Seed. The drivers now having completed all the racing laps, with the exception of Fabian Meyer and Valentin Georgiev, who are just crossing the timing line as we speak, and Tiziano Caponio, etc. Ciro Zambra, provisionally our race winner. I say provisionally because, of course, so that's going to be 138 points for Ciro Zambra and 126 for David Seed, if our calculations are correct. So Ciro Zambra. There is Tiziano Caponio then, P17. Going to be bitterly disappointed with that. So cars slowing down then. And as I said, everything that we can say is, of course, provisional until such time as the race direction team take a look at absolutely everything. And in fairness, certainly right in the first opening lap, there was plenty to take a look at, to be honest with you. But that is always the case here at this exclusive Zurich Airport circuit, where you come through the circle and then into that funnel of turns. And there is Mr. Hader then. Exhale of breath. And you can see the beads of sweat running down the face. It's been a hard and demanding race. And Joshua and Lorenzo Hayder both having performed so well in that race. The two brothers doing very, very good work indeed. So great images that we are able to bring you live from our lounges. And we are here from Kemptal. And you can see how that simulator really does move and recreate every bump across the track. Just see sitting at the table there on the right-hand side of your picture is Michael Smeedel, who of course has been successful in the Racer League and has sealed the deal in terms of the championship. You can see him there texting on his phone, having enjoyed all the race action to come from the Challenger League. And Christoph Holstein right in the middle of the picture now. Christoph, turn around, please. No, he's not going to. Not listed. There he is. So there is Christoph. There is Mikhail then. He's finished texting. And big smiles, of course. And there you can see his fellow countrymen as well. Of course, they travel from the Czech Republic to take part in the excellent Racing Unleashed program and series, and Mikhail having done such a good job. So we take the images from our various lounges as Race Control set about the extraordinary work that they have to do now, taking a look at everything, and there they are with, right in the middle of your picture is Carl Wendlinger, the driver ambassador for Racing Unleashed, who sees everything from a driver's eye perspective as well, and therefore is able to offer his years and years of racing and hugely successful racing experience to the Race Control Board in terms of any decisions that they may make. So the result, as we've seen the drivers across the line, remains provisional until they basically sign off and say, yeah, we're happy with everything, whether any penalties have to be awarded or not. So double level of simulators here in Kemptal, as you can see. The pit wall and race control building is situated on the ground floor, and our comm studio is situated on the top floor. And there you can see our, at the moment, provisional race winner looking very, very happy indeed, and rightly so, having done a very good job. The pace towards the end of the race as Mikko Fry then jumps out of his simulator. You can see that there live, and takes a look over the balcony at Race Control, and there is David Seed. And David Seed, then another driver, awesomely talented, and of course he won't have banked quite as many points as he would have liked to have done today, but we will see, because nothing is finished until we have absolute confirmation of the results from everyone in terms of Race Control. So that's why we have pauses, and that's Yannick Pletcher in his all-new blue t-shirt, as you can see, bright blue. That is, and preferring shorts and orange trainers. Just giving you the complete rundown of Yannick Pletcher's fashion example to us all there. And there is just one half of the Hayder brothers then, who's just very patiently sitting inside the cockpit of his simulator here in Kemptal with that lovely Mercedes-Benz right behind him there. So we will see. The Race Control team are continuing their deliberations, and as soon as we can bring you the confirmed classification, of course we will do that. Meantime, as you can see, they're taking a look at frame by frame everything that they feel that they need to look at, if there's any contention whatsoever. And as I say, most of the contentions issued, I would have said, came right at the start of the race, because it's very, very tricky. Particularly on this Zurich Airport circuit, where space is not at a premium after the start-finish straight, which isn't a straight. So, lots of handshakes, and you can see that our drivers in the Racer League who come and support and enjoy the Challenger League at the same time. We can take a look at some replays now of some of the action that we saw in that race, and this is Marcus Valverde then. Whew. Quick on his steering inputs there, And unfortunately, the back end of the car gave up just when he really needed it not to give up. This is Valentin Georgiev. And from being on board, you could see a pirouette slide from two drivers together there as Marcus Valverde involved in the thick of the action for much of that race. Brilliant that we can bring you these replays. And they are just some of the things that are being looked at as we speak. So, as I mentioned there, you can see Wojciech Polesny, who's sat down there quietly in our lounge in Zurich, and here our race control team continuing their deliberations and discussions. So the race control team, who are absolutely fair but very, very firm, as we saw from our knockout qualifying. Everything gets looked at, and of course they are aware of our desire to get to a confirmed result as quickly as possible, but they will not let that impact their decision making, because they want to make sure that everything is dealt with correctly. And there you can see they are able to take a look frame by frame at everything that goes on. And they have not only the our broadcast pictures available to them, but lots of other pictures as well. And of course, lots and lots of other information as well, including data. And we are being told that Ciro Zambra, who crossed the line P1, may not be classified as P1. And this is our provisional podium, with Joshua Hader, who would be elevated to P1, David Sid P2, and Ciro Zambra P3. Now, that would make some significant difference in terms of the Drivers' Championship for Ciro Zambra and David Seed, because going into this race, there was 2 points difference between them, and that was in the favour of Ciro Zambra. So David Seed was 2 points behind, running in P2. So that would be our, that we think is our provisional podium. We will see once we get confirmation. We're told now it is confirmed. That podium is confirmed. So there we have it then. Joshua Hader then finds himself with the race win, and he will feel there's some justice there, given that he was penalised from the knockout qualifying. So we find ourselves, and that's why the race direction team take it so seriously. Absolutely really fair, firm but fair in making sure that all the decisions they make are the right decisions. So there you can see they continue to look at everything. So we brought you the virtual podium, which we are told is now confirmed, and that means the real podiums will be got underway in the appropriate lounges in due course. And just as soon as all the classification has been confirmed, we will of course bring that to you, but we await for some of the other positions that may be in question as well. So you join us in the tense moments at the end of the race when everything is looked at, and there you can see there's lots and lots of drivers awaiting the decisions, and that right in the centre of the screen is the fashion icon that is Yannick Pletcher that I mentioned just a few moments ago. There you can see he's having discussions there, and he of course has just taken part in that race. Lots of dialogue going on, and the dialogue continues in each and every one of the lounges following that race. And you can see the podium numbers are put onto the stairs at the Zurich lounge. And there is Thomas Herzog just walking into our the focus of our camera there, and there you can see on the left-hand side of the screen one of those fantastic simulators, the Formula Hybrid X Evo 2022 simulators that are used both in the Racer League and the Challenger League that we have just watched. So expectantly and with some sense of trepidation from some drivers' perspectives in terms of getting the confirmed classification to you, and we do that just as soon as we can. So there he is, Ciro Zambra inside the cockpit. Gloves coming off, and discussions going on now with race control in each and every one of the lounges. So perhaps a look of disappointment on the face of Ciro Zambra. However, it is what it is. Rules are rules, and Ciro Zambra, I hope you can hear me. And Ciro, I just said there's a kind of a look of disappointment on your face. Talk us through your emotions and what you're feeling right now, Ciro.
Yeah, in my opinion, I had a very good start. Race started well, and then I don't know if it was on stream, but I touched the rear of Sinon de Murbos a little bit in the last corner. In my opinion, it was a racing incident. But, you know, I got that 10 seconds, and it is what it is now. And we got to move forward to Imola.
And the thing is, Ciro, from our point of view, and perhaps it's you feel it's a racing incident. Of course, race control look at that, and they deem differently. Of course, for us, Ciro, what it does, it takes the championship to Imola the next round, as you say. So I think you're being very, very adult about taking it on the chin, if I may say.
Yeah, that's true. Just so unfortunate.
So, as I understand it from the calculations that we're doing here, Ciro, you are just 1 point behind David Seed.
Yeah. Could have been 12.
So,
but it is what it is.
It is what it is, Ciro, and we know just how good a racing driver you are, and well, I kind of feel I need to say thank you for keeping this championship so exciting right to the final round, and I'm pleased to see that if nothing else I've been able to provoke a small smile on your face, Ciro Zambra.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for talking to us. Appreciate it's difficult because, just 1 point in it then. Whoa, between David Seed and Ciro Zambra. My goodness me. We couldn't write the script any better, but I promise you it's all being brought about by the discussions that are going on with race control at the moment. And David Seed, as you can see, is there waiting for us in Madrid. And I hope you can hear me, David. And now we've just found out that going into Imola, there's just a point between you and your competitor in the championship. So, David, you're not abreast of all the information that's going on, but as we say at the moment, the calculations are suggesting that going into Imola, there's going to be 1 point between you two, which means for us, great news, because, of course, the championship is going to go all the way to Imola and going to be really, really exciting. I mean, David, today, if I may say so, let's take a look at the knockout qualifying. Let's take a look at the race. You did everything that you could, and of course it just proves how competitive this championship is between all of you drivers, doesn't it?
Yes, today I didn't have a very good race pace. I don't know the final position, but I think Ciro deserves this win, and if he wins the championship, it will be good for me and for him, because I think we are the two best drivers in the grid, and he deserves it.
Well, do you know what? That's so humble of you to say that, but I can tell you and I can confirm to you, David, that Ciro has been penalised, so that benefits you, but that takes nothing away from your very, very humble nature and the way you said that in your opinion he deserves it, but race control have viewed it very differently, David.
Well, I don't know, obviously with a difference of 1 point the show would be good, but it's not good for me. I obviously want to win it, and with a difference of 1 point anything can happen.
Well, we look forward to Imola, and David, thank you very much for talking to us, and hopefully I've brought you up to speed in terms of the positions at the moment, so what a very, very humble and gentleman David Seed is then, as he talks to us from Madrid. And we were able to break the news to him that Ciro has been penalised, which obviously plays to the advantage of David Seed. But as he was saying, he didn't want to take that benefit necessarily. However, someone that deserves the benefit, in my opinion, and has driven like a demon today is Joshua Hader. Joshua, well done, friend. You must be delighted with the end result.
Thank you. First of all, nice to hear you here on my ears for the first time on my podium, and it's unbelievable to win this race. It's a nice present in the end, but maybe not the result I hoped for, the win I hoped for, because my pace was not like this pace from zero, but in the end, on the paper, I win the race, and I think it's a good day today.
Joshua, you got to say a win is a win, whether you won it on the track or whether you won it after all the deliberations of race control. And thank you for your kind words about me. I'm delighted to be back with you guys. But also, Lorenzo, your brother, did a very good job today, Joshua.
I think today is a big team hider day. From P18 to P5, it's an unbelievable result. I just saw it on the timetable. 5 rounds before the end, 5 laps, and wow, I just hoped he can reach it in the end, but and he reached it. So for me, P1, for him, P5, I think we have to go out for a drink today.
I think you might be right, and I think you deserve that. Well done, Joshua Hader, and thank you for talking to us. Joshua and Lorenzo, both absolute stars and awesome racing drivers and great characters as well, and really good fun. So Joshua was saying then, he was very honest that he didn't have the race pace that he wanted. But let's get the podium ceremony underway then, the live podiums that are conducted in all of our lounges then. So here then, taking P3, and medal is about to be awarded by race control, as you can see. And wow, what a great job in terms of driving the entertainment value for us and sending it to Imola. So looking forward to that now in this wonderful Challenger League competition. So well done. There's P3 that has been awarded, and you can see and you can understand perhaps not what Ciro expected or wanted, but it is what it is, and everything is done for the right reasons. And we await David Seed then, who will be appearing in front of the Racing Unleashed board that you can see there for his podium. And right on cue, here comes David Seed. What a truly humble young man, I have to say, as he collects his award. Well done, David Seed. And we very much look forward to seeing the race for the championship taken all the way to Imola. Congratulations to David Seed, then P2. And then, of course, right to the top step of the podium, to the left-hand side of my studio here. Here comes our race winner then, who receives the handshake and receives the medal. And the Hader family always celebrate in fine style. And many, many congratulations to Joshua Hader then, who takes the race win. Absolutely brilliant stuff. That's the way it looks. Confirmation then, as our podiums are delivered in all the respective lounges necessary that celebrate our top 3 drivers. And there you can see it yourself in high-speed replay, Joshua. That's how good you look on TV and how good you look inside a racing car. My goodness me. The Hader brothers, P1 and P5 today then. As Joshua said, it's worthy of a cup of coffee. Don't forget the grand final, which will be in Imola. For the Challenger League, all the action starts at 10:50 on the 12th of November. And for the Racer League, it's 10:50 on Sunday, the 13th of November. That is the grand final of both our competitions at Imola. And that wonderful Italian circuit, which, as I said, in preparations, I head off there on Tuesday. So looking forward to that, and we will be bringing you all the action for that. And, of course, it couldn't be closer in terms of the wonderful Challenger League, and really good to hear from those drivers. We're going to end the day by saying thank you to you so much for watching, and please make sure you join us for tomorrow when we do it all over again, but this time with the Racer League. Bye-bye for now.
This is Racing Unleashed Beyond the Pinnacle.
Hold on to your hats. We are on the grid. Who is going to be king of the late breakers? Excellent onboard shot. Michael Spiegel is throwing absolutely everything at this, including the kitchen sink.
He is a fighter, a warrior. And look at this! Look at this!
Unglaublich!
Wow, qué pelea!
I'm loving this.
Take your hat off and give him a bow. He's already in the lead, and now he can sail off into the sunset.
This is Racing Unleashed.